jump on it, right? And we jump on it hard. Did that outside noise filter through at any point?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, professional sportsmen, there's always some pressure associated to it. But no, just tried to keep the distractions out and just focus on myself.
Talk Sport.
I'm Ben Fletcher. Good afternoon. Straight to Edgbaston, where things are going from bad to worse for England. And remember, they chose to bat first, watching the first ODI against India for talkSPORT. Good afternoon, John Norman.
Yeah, good afternoon to you, Fletch. 113 for 6. England, they were 61 without loss at one stage. The last wicket to fall, that of Will Jacks. A brilliant catch behind the stumps by Keown, ending his innings on 20. Could have been even worse for England. Joe Root is still there. He's 14 not out. He was dropped on 7 by Shivam Dubey in his follow-through. So Root is 14, Liam Dawson 3. And 24 overs in, England 113 for 6.
There's plenty more on the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel. Now, both FIFA and the Feds have labelled England versus Argentina as the highest risk game at this World Cup. The Falklands conflict's been identified as a possible source of tension between fan groups, with police in Atlanta beefing up their resources. Former England number 1 David Seaman remembers the scenes after the defeat to Argentina back in France 98.
The two coaches were side by side, and the Argentinian players got on their coach and they were singing and dancing and banging on the windows and everything. And we were like, oh. But we certainly got our own back in 2002, trust me.
Yeah.
Jordan Pickford's tried to play down tomorrow's semi-final as just a game of football. World Cup winner Emmanuel Petit told us England need to rise above Argentina's underhand tactics, especially Jude Bellingham.
I have the feeling he's got something to prove every single time he's on the pitch, all the time, and he has to keep his nerve, definitely, because they will try to do anything they can on the pitch.
Declan Rice is fit and ready to start after a stomach bug. In the meantime, Kylian Mbappe's trained ahead of tonight's semi-final amid doubts over his fitness. France-Spain is live on talkSPORT. Next, we understand there are growing calls within UEFA to back a candidate to run against Gianni Infantino in the next FIFA presidential election. Infantino seeking a third term. He had hoped to run unopposed once again. Brighton have smashed their transfer record, agreeing a £50 million deal for 19-year-old Spurs defender Luka Vuskovic, who signed a 5-year contract, and Inter have another bid for Curtis Jones rejected by Liverpool, who want upwards of £34 million. Plenty more at talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
It's emerged Scott Mills was the highest paid presenter at the BBC before he was sacked, and nearly £10 billion of taxpayers' money spent on the PPE during the pandemic was wasted. More from Amelia at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Heatwave outside, oven inside. Stay cool this summer with a free aircon check. Book online or visit your local QuickFit today.
Any remaining cloud will clear to leave a warm and sunny afternoon.
Get ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com.
Good afternoon, everybody. You're listening to Jim White, Simon Jordan and Martin Keown, and we are live on talkSPORT. So the World Cup semi-finals are upon us. England versus Argentina. Is it more than just a football match? Meanwhile, Spain, will they knock France off their favourites' pedestal? Also today, can you pick and choose when to represent your country? Fan segregation, do we still need it? Is Keir Starmer entitled to one last jolly? Following slots and not Klopp, is that to Iraiola's advantage? And how long should you hold a football grudge? It's Jim White, Simon Jordan, Martin Keown. We're live on talkSPORT. Simon, you might remember the gentleman to your left. This is Arsenal invincible Martin Keown, who you last saw in New York.
Indeed, I did.
We did. What a view we had from that studio. Yeah, fantastic, wasn't it?
50th floor of the World Trade Center.
After we were together, I went to watch Brazil play Norway. And
how was that?
Went to the stadium where the final was going to be. But it was seamless travel, by the way. Those who went by car were stupid. It took them 3 hours to get there, 3 hours to get back. It took me 35 minutes to return to my hotel, back and forth.
Can't argue with that, okay?
Left when Haaland scored that second goal. They completely dominated the match. So I think England played against a very good Norway team after what I saw that day. So we're all looking forward to these semi-finals coming up now.
Good. So you had no problem getting to the MetLife and
fantastic.
getting to the stadium from a drop-off point like this fella and I did.
We were, I think it was 34th Street, their Penn Station. It's really well organised. You go straight through, Jim.
New Jersey Transit, yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. A little bit of a change of trains when you get there, and afterwards just came out as we went in. I did compliment them actually, Jim. There were some guys, high-powered looking individuals, and I said, guys, you need complimenting for the way we've been ferried in and out.
What does a high-powered looking individual look like?
Well, we had surrounded by police around him. He was walking very
he was a criminal.
dressed. Yes. Oh no, he was on a walkie-talkie. He was. Don't worry. He was. He said, "I'll feed that back. Thank you very much."
All right. You probably congratulated somebody who's wanted.
It's nothing like being on the ground out in the World Cup. It's very difficult for when you're here. We're back here now, and we kind of don't feel completely in touch with it. Obviously, there's only one game a day now. There was only two, but when it was 3 games in a day, I found it diffictive to follow it.
Okay.
In terms of the timing of pictures.
But that's great.
Well, I'll give you.
That's good.
No. That's what we do on the radio. We give informed opinion and we give people some information.
Excellent.
On radio, where they're driving their cars.
I knew you were heading out to that game, so well done for going to it. And it turned out to be an absolute eyebrow raiser.
I wouldn't say what I had to pay because it's very expensive.
Oh, you bought tickets, for the family.
So there's that, and people are saying there's no trouble out there. Well, maybe that is down to the class of the person that's going out there, and we'll do a class distinction on what you're paying. But it is very orderly, and maybe there's a reason for that. But I feel
what do you mean by that? When you're a fine upstanding
fan in the street,
saying the price of the tickets are excluding a certain element.
Yeah, which is a shame. Which is a shame as well.
Gentrification in the worst way, I suspect.
Yeah, they can't fight out. They can't afford to buy the alcohol.
There's no follow-up from you, is there, today? I mean, I don't know what to ask you, Simon, after all that. Martin, it's lovely to see you. We're going to be talking about these 2 semi-finals, and we're going to be talking to you about if you think England will get through, if you think England get to the final, if you think England actually win it. It is remarkable, Simon. 48 nations now down to 4.
Indeed.
The World Cup semi-finals are upon us. Before England go into action tomorrow against Argentina in Atlanta, France and Spain go head-to-head in Dallas. Both games live on talkSPORT. What do you think, Simon, in terms of potential final opponents, France or Spain? Is it a case of, all right, pick your poison?
Yeah, which disease do I want least? Both sides are very good sides. I think it will be the French that come through. I don't think we'll see a repeat of the Euros in terms of Spain overcoming the French.
Semi-final previously.
Yeah, I mean, they have proven to be France's kryptonite, but I think this French side are better than they were 2 years ago in the Euros. I think they're together. I think all of them big players are on form, and I think they'll have too much for Spain. And it is a case of, for England, if they manage to get through against Argentina, which I think they will, that whoever they play, and I'm desperate for it not to be the Spanish, because I'm spending a month in Spain and I don't want to be surrounded by a bunch of Spaniards celebrating if they beat England.
One thing that is different, though, Elise didn't play in that game. I was going through the 2 sets of 11s. It'd be interesting to see how many play. Gamal did, as a 16-year-old, by the way, and I think he scored an early goal. I think Elise's been...
Against the French.
Against the
wonder goal against
and I believe that Elise is the standout player of this World Cup. And I think very cleverly, Jim, they've moved him into a central role, like the Messi role.
Lovely.
From an out on the right.
But from an England point of view, who is the better or worse opponent?
But I don't think you can pick it that way. You just, at the moment, all the resources are going into Argentina, are sussing out how it is that wonderfully well that this team organised itself for Messi, who had, incidentally, Jim, 99 touches of the ball in the last game against Switzerland. So this guy's far from finished. He's a remarkable talent.
I think the French are the better side. So if you're asking me who is the better one for England to play, it would be the Spanish. Because if the French are a better side, you want to play against a side that's least proficient.
Right.
So in that respect, but either one of them are going to be a very tall order if England get through the semi-final, they're going to have to win this World Cup.
Well, if you look at France versus Spain for that fixture just in isolation, definitely the French are a much better team, I believe, now. And also they're in a moment. Do you know they're in a moment where their manager Deschamps has been there for forever, Jim. Yeah, and he knows what levers to pull. And this is like, as I say, Mbappe has been absolutely different. This is the World Cup, isn't it, of goal scorers? And he's right up there. It's intriguing to see who's going to win that battle.
Together. I mean, there's no issues with
the French are together.
Well, they're very together as a team, as a unit. You know, they watch themselves getting kicked around the park against Paraguay, and you could see the cohesion between the side. The Mbappe factor, which has often been something that could have problems attached to it, that he can be an island on his own, and people are looking in on this island going, I don't want to be part of that.
I think there was a lesson.
I would say to both of you, Spain have conceded 1 goal in this tournament.
Yeah, and that's fine, and Spain drew against Cape Verde. So look, the bottom line is that both sides are very, very formidable opposition, and so it should be for whoever gets to a World Cup final.
Right. The thing is, who's wearing what? And I'll tell you, Argentina have successfully lobbied FIFA to make sure they can wear their navy blue away kit tomorrow night, just as they did in the past in that fateful day in the Azteca when Maradona did his stuff with the hand of God. And of course...
do we know the background of that? Were we able to contest that? You know, like, okay, why do we want to give them what they want? Would we have been able to contest that, Jim?
I would have thought that, would it particularly bother the players?
Or did Donald Trump get involved and make sure that they had the kit they wanted?
We don't know if he got involved on this occasion, but we certainly know that Argentina got in quick and lobbied FIFA. Anyway, they've got what they wanted. They're going to wear that kit. Do you think we're going to see the very best version of England tomorrow night, Martin? Or have we already seen peak England? By that, I mean, is it naive to suggest they're capable of producing anything different?
Well, if we can get past the mentality question, I don't believe there was an issue with mentality. I think it was about the way the players were actually unable to take on board the information the manager was giving them. So that will be something that will be ironed out. An awful lot of talk yesterday, wasn't there, about the interviews and everything else and all the clickbait on that. So let's try and swerve around it. But actually what will happen is the team now will be working hard on them understanding. When you get the ball in wide positions, you go after your opponent. You don't come back. I think Declan Rice was taken off because he played too many sideward and backward passes, and the manager simply wanted something different. So I expect Declan to play. He's been outstanding this season, but he will understand the message better. And I think it was refreshing that the manager, you know, he leaves the pitch. Maybe it is because he's not English and he can step back a little bit and he can think about all of this just as a manager rather than an Englishman.
He's just brutally honest.
I think he's the same as he was at domestic level.
Yeah.
I think he said the same things in the dugout when he was talking about domestic level. I think Declan was taken off because he was exhausted. I think if you look at his performances, the one thing you can rely on Declan Rice to do is to hit a dead ball and a sixpence. And the last 2 or 3 games, we've seen none of that from Declan Rice. And I think some of that's because he's not been physically able.
Yeah, but there's a message, isn't there, from the dugout? So every time we had a drinks break, it was fascinating because the manager was getting more and more angry, and every time they went out onto the pitch, the players then weren't actually carrying out the plan.
Certainly in the first 20 minutes of the game, we saw England carrying out a plan, which was to control the game, control the tempo of the game, and control the ball. And the moment we went into the first drinks break, it's as if everyone's head came off. And the complete polar opposite manifested.
That's right.
And that was a strange phenomenon. Look, I don't know whether he substituted Declan Rice because he was passing backwards and sideways, and I concur with Martin's argument. There's too much of that going on at times. I think it's more likely to do with the fact that Declan was tired and wasn't as effective in the.
I think it's a combination of the two.
Probably. But now, are we going to go to your question?
Yes. I mean, are we too late in the tournament to expect England to suddenly spark into something new?
The opposition it's like stars make fights. The oppositions make the opportunity for teams to play well. Croatia made the opportunity for England to play well because of the way they set up.
Right.
I don't think the Argentinians were set up that way. I don't think England are a particularly good side. As a unit, I don't think we're a particularly cohesive, fluid, easy on the eye side. What we are is a formidable team that you have to try and beat. We're like a dog. You've got to stamp us down. You know, there's a lot of dog in this side.
Right.
We're strong, physical side.
We're strong, we're physical. We have an indomitable spirit. Is that going to be enough when it comes on top to beat technically better sides? Which I don't think Argentina.
No, I think Tuchel knows it won't be. That's why.
Specifically, that's what I wanted to put to you, Martin, because Michael Owen in the Mail. England were played off the park by Norway for large periods and couldn't get control of the game. It was exactly as I feared. I hear a lot of people now saying it would just have to be this way, England winning ugly. Then he says, crucially, I haven't given up on England being better against Argentina on Wednesday.
No, I agree with some of that.
Are you with him on that?
Some of that I agree with, but it's about finding a way to win, and they've done that now. So this is the moment. You got in Bellingham, one of the best players in the world right now.
Oh, he's magnificent.
But you have to credit the manager for taking him to this level. We didn't have this level before from him. He started to slip in an England shirt. If you remember, Morgan Rogers was playing for large periods of the season. He wasn't, Jim. So he's got this player to boiling point. So let's not be surprised if it's a little bit tetchy, because he's trying to prove the manager wrong with everything he does on the pitch. And then afterwards, he's tried to, have a little go back. For the press really try to divide a little bit there, right? We must be careful of that and stay away from that. There's a duty for both the press and the players
I'll get to that. On
to
you
get
go.
this relationship right.
On you go.
But we have got the players who can win this game. There's no doubt about it. The only problem, what you're up against is a Messi who the whole team configures itself around him and they move. He can walk from box to box.
Yeah.
And what they do, he doesn't even look at the ball until he's ready. He puts his hand in the air, they give it to him, and then it's set for him. He has a picture.
Yeah.
And he has all these players in positions.
See,
They do it beautifully. That's what we're up against.
I like what Michael Owen's saying, though, Martin. The biggest games have a habit of bringing the biggest performances, especially from the biggest players. That's why Tuchel was right not to sugarcoat Norway.
Yeah.
So he says sometimes it's a challenge. England can answer that against
When
Argentina.
is the perfect time to have a go and a dig at your players?
Right.
When you qualify for the semi-final of the World
Right.
Cup. No, everyone's listening and everybody will want to improve. There's no doubt, Jim, they're achieving great things here. They are one step away from greatness, 2 steps away from greatness.
Right.
No one's done this since
put it out
66.
before we hit this break. 03717223344. Tomorrow night, do you think there is more to come from England? Or have we already seen peak England? You can answer that, or you can answer this. Michael Owen says he hasn't given up on England being better against Argentina. But have you? Have you? Or do you go with Owen? No, there's more to come, and it could come against Argentina. Let us know what you think. 03717223344, and we're live in Talk Sport on a Tuesday afternoon, the 14th of July, at coming up to 1:20.
After a game, positivity, and you throw that negative comment about what a manager says, but you haven't told Bellingham everything positive that the manager said.
Sorry, just being on the other side of that, right?
Yeah.
So you're a player, you've come off the pitch and maybe had negativity after a win, but that is his job.
Yeah.
That's him. That's the guy, the fella doing his job, Adrian Clark.
But is that a problem in the media then?
But it's not. It's just your manager's just said this. What do you make about that, Jude?
Yeah, but I still think like that might be his job, but then like when people moan, and there's been a lot of moaning on social media by a lot of the public, we've just got through to a semi-final. We should be positive, and people are creating a beef between our best player and the manager.
Tuchel created the beef.
No,
he put it out there
yeah, but
first.
Tuchel's not called out any player. He said what he thought about the game, which was honest. No problem. I totally agree with what he says. We can be a lot better. But when a player finishes a game, he's exhausted. He's done 110 minutes in that heat. He's shattered. He's carried his team through. He scored 2 goals. The last thing he wants to hear for the first question is, the manager said that's not good enough. Why do you say, like, okay, Jude Bellingham, what was that feeling like? Look at the fans behind you. How positive? Why can't we be positive in the media?
Because you can see that. You can quite clearly see there's a lot of positivity around you, Gabby.
What do you mean? Yeah, but that's the first question you want to ask your man. You don't want to be asked a negative question when
you're trying to win the World Cup.
Exactly.
Not just get to a semi-final.
No one said you're not
so
trying
you've got through the quarterfinals. It wasn't your best performance.
Yeah.
It's nothing to get really overly excited about.
I think it is. I think it 100% is, because this World Cup, France are the only team that have been outstanding. Argentina, like I said, we've got through every round being poor. Then after the game, being with their media, we got to do. That's a conversation for another day. I just think we look for problems. There shouldn't be any problem, shouldn't be any big talk today about, there's beef, they don't get on. When I watch him on the pitch, he looks like he's listening to his manager. I don't see a beef there.
Hello, I'm Matt Fordham from talkSPORT. This is How to Win the World Cup.
This is the best squad I think England have ever had.
He used to love America, now he doesn't. It's very sad.
It was so important to succeed because of all the pressure we received.
Don't jump for this one, I'm going to knock his head off.
Warning, this podcast does not guarantee England will actually win anything.
It's Jim White, Simon Jordan, Martin Keown. We're live in talkSPORT in partnership with Toolstation. First up, Toolstation. Let's head to Edgbaston. The first ODI, England-India, well underway. Here's John Norman.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. Fantastic atmosphere here at Edgbaston. The stands are packed, and the majority of the fans seem to be enjoying themselves. They're decked in blue and they're supporting India. And after a half-century opening partnership for England, it has all been about India. 60 without loss is now 139 for 6. Joe Root and Liam Dawson just trying to rescue the innings. Brilliant bowling, brilliant fast bowling from India. They have struck wickets consistently over the course of the last 15 overs. And England, whose form in 50-over cricket isn't anything to write home about, are really struggling here. 139 for 6 then. We're in the 29th over with Dawson and Root at the crease.
Lovely, John. Thanks very much indeed. Hi to Roy from Hong Kong, who was over, got a hold of me in the street the other night. Loves the show, loves Mr. Jordan. It was good to speak to you, Roy. You'll be heading back, I think you said today, so good luck with that. Where are we at going into the second World Cup semi-final involving England and Argentina? Are we going to see the best version of England, or have we already seen that? What do you think? Is there more to come? Do you expect to see more from England against Argentina? 03717 223344. George is a big Middlesbrough fan. George, good afternoon. What do you think on that topic?
Hello, fellas. Great show, as always. It's been a joy to listen to you.
Thank you, George.
Yeah, I personally think, I agree with what Simon said about them not performing as a unit, but I have a sneaky feeling that Tuchel's got some kind of sneaky little bag to play, and I think he might be just holding back, because when we really need to step up, I mean, against Croatia second half, we were brilliant. You know, Mexico, nobody was expecting us to really do well in that, and yet they really stepped up. I've got a feeling that we're just going to really go at it, and I think there's enough players in that team that have really shown signs of real quality. I mean, Eze is a cracking one for me. The pace on that lad's ridiculous. You know,
right.
You know, when he runs at me, really goes. You know, and I think if we can gel as a team, then I don't think there's anyone who can stop us.
Okay, I get you, George. So Michael Owen, and Martin Keown thinks I'm giving him too many mentions, but I've given him another. Says, I haven't given up on England being better against Argentina on Wednesday. Neither of you, George. That's what you're telling me.
Absolutely. I think we've got enough quality in that team. It's theirs to throw away, really. You know, the lads can either step up and and really show what they're capable of, or not. Indeed, But at the end of the day, you can't deny that the quality exists in the team. They just need to put it on the pitch.
George, thanks for the call. Jim's a big Manchester United and England fan. Jim, do you agree with George? Where are you going with it? Hello, Jim.
Hello.
Hello, Jim. How are you?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I'm good. Yourself?
Good, we're very good. What do you think? Did you hear George? He thinks there's going to be more from Tuchel's England. Do you?
I think there's plenty more, to be honest. Having watched pretty much watched all the major knockout games, including the Argentina ones against Egypt and against Cape Verde, even they weren't even at their best. And Cape Verde had never been to that stage of a World Cup before, and they took them all the way to extra time. Like, who would have thought the world champions wouldn't just blow them away? I think it's an adaptation thing. Right now, England have got definitely some of the best players in the world, and they've definitely got the ability to win the World Cup, no doubt about it. But they haven't been able to really show everything yet, because the first 10 to 15 minutes of each game, they've got to adapt to what's in front of them. Look at Mexico. Mexico went toe-to-toe with England. It was a 3-2 game. It was amazing.
Sure.
And we got to see a good amount of quality. But then look at Norway. Large parts of Norway game, they played the low block. No one would have expected the team with Haaland at all would play a low block against England. But they did, and it pushed us back. And I think Argentina will finally be a game where both teams can go toe-to-toe with each other and show. You're not going to see a Lionel Messi team play a low block. You're not going to see a Jude Bellingham team play a low block. They'll finally go against each other, and it will show the best of the best and why Tuchel has taken these players. You've got to remember, he's the first England manager in decades that has actually got a trophy cabinet of some level in a club, and he knows how to take teams at a club level
to another level
up there and win.
Okay.
Champions League, he's done it before. He's done leagues. He knows how to do it.
Right.
And he's only got 7 games that he has to win with this bunch of England players. I'm sorry for that, and I think on Sunday, Keir Starmer will be announcing the bank holiday. To be honest, I think we will bring it home.
We'll get to Keir Starmer in a bit. Jim, thanks for that. Liverpool fan Chris, do you agree with your Manchester United friend Jim that there is more to come? What do you think, Chris?
Hello, guys. Thanks for taking the call. I think there's definitely more to come. I think if you looked at the last game, obviously Declan Rice, you could see the first 10 minutes he was struggling. So I think you're going to see a far better Declan Rice in the next game. Elliot Anderson is just going from strength to strength.
Yeah,
I think he's superb. I think he's a cracking player. I played Saka on the right. My only issue is still on the left-hand side. I don't think Tuchel's 100% got it in his head who he'd prefer out there. I think we've just got to take the handbrake off against them.
Okay.
Go
toe-to-toe with them.
But I think the amount of quality in our team is unbelievable.
Okay.
And also as well, Jude Bellingham is just sublime, isn't he?
He's out of this world, isn't he? So Martin, Simon, the callers are saying yes, there's more to come. So let's have it. Let's see it. You go with that.
Yeah, I want to throw it forward really, Jim, because I'm already looking at this tactically and thinking, okay, how are we going to survive this game and how are we going to play? And they don't play really with any wingers of any any note. Their fullbacks give them the width, so they like to play, they create a pitch to give you a visualization. They create a pitch within a pitch. And what we've got to do is, do we now say, okay, let's go without one of the wingers? Do we leave Gordon out? And does Eze now come in, who came on in the game, played really well? Change our system slightly. He might have contemplated marking Messi, because we don't often see that. But I don't think the modern day game allows for that, because it'd be just too difficult, Jim.
Yeah.
But definitely we've got to get numbers into the middle of the pitch. That's what they do. De Paul is their right winger. Never see him on the wing. He's always central. So are we going to have two sets of, a fullback and a winger? Maybe he wants to change the system. He's got to have a tactical plan that he can believe in.
Oh, he will. I mean, the question is, does he highlight his strengths, or does he sacrifice a proportion of their perceived strengths to negate the strengths of Argentina? Do we think the team can get better? I think the individuals within the confines of the team will get better in this game. Mm-hmm. But will that make us a cohesively better side? I think Manueki, I'm not a fan of him at all. I think he's a one-dimensional player, and I'm surprised he's in an England shirt. I think Gordon has done well. I think Elliot Anderson has been a revelation. I think the legs on that kid, in terms of the energy that he deployed in that game against Norway, was remarkable. Declan will be better in this game. Jude Bellingham will do what he does.
You said at the top of the show, though, Simon, England haven't been a very good team.
No, that's my point. So the question is, does individual performances getting better translate into the team being better?
Yeah.
Possibly. Bellingham will do what Bellingham does. And hopefully there won't be any sort of moments in that game where you feel...
I think there has been times when we have been very good. And that's the thing about
very few and far between.
Well, we saw against Croatia in the second half. I mean, we did. For years we've heard you say, well, look, we only beat the teams that are, the teams that we're playing are not the best, and then suddenly we play against someone who's decent. Well, Croatia actually were the second best qualifying team from the European teams to get to the World Cup. Actually, people miss that. But I thought it was a really good win. The Mexico affair, you go there to altitude, you're up against it, and you go down to 10 players, and you do what you did was quite magnificent. I like the fact that we're getting Dan Burn in the team. We're getting lots of... Everyone's making a contribution here, Jim. There's a really good feel-good factor.
Interesting thing, the forwards aren't. You know, you're not getting Ollie Watkins in the game. You're not getting Ivan Toney in the game.
No.
Rashford's getting a little whiff every now and again, but not very much.
Yeah.
So the interesting thing will be is like Eze. I think Eze played okay against Norway, but he doesn't look like a player that believes he's an international footballer yet.
Okay.
And some of those players have got to really step into this game, and if they do step into this game, then we'll beat the Argentines.
Well, we've got plenty of time to talk about it, and also to get Martin's take on the differing Tuchel-Bellingham assessments post-Norway. We'll get into that very shortly. We remember Brad Friedel, former US goalkeeper, talkSPORT pundit. We'll be catching up with him regards France-Spain, because he's working on that, and we'll join Brad very shortly. We're live on talkSPORT in partnership with Toolstation. First stop, Toolstation. Gabriel put it to him. The fans are loving it. You guys are in a semi-final.
But he talked about the manager specifically, and we're criticising or observing or opining on what Jude Bellingham's response to his manager, not what the fans say.
Was Tuchel unhappy with the performance?
Yeah, so he should be.
Yeah, that's what Gabriel put to Jude.
But he also talked...
That's a fair question to put to Jude,
why didn't he put the balance?
But is that not a fair question to put to Bellingham?
At the same time as putting balance in the conversation. If you're trying
we'll agree to disagree.
It's dishonest. It's absolutely fundamentally
What's dishonest about it?
Because you're not presenting the full picture. You are taking what the manager's worst
Tuchel
things.
said his bit, and Jude said his bit.
But that is why I qualify things by sitting with you and peers, and I'm delighted to say that whilst I'm in the media, I'm not a creation of it. I didn't build my career around the media.
All that again.
Well, it's true.
That again.
It's true.
I've never heard anything like that.
No, because you wouldn't. Because you're a journalist. Your entire life has been journalism. What you do is you look at it and go,
Morgan,
how can we get
through about that as well? No, we don't.
but
And that's where you're wrong. No one in the media, when you get to the level of Gabriel Clark, you're not in a mix zone, or you're not in a post-match situation going, oh, I've got him. I've got him. You do not get it.
I watch you guys.
You do not get it.
I watch you do it. I watch you do it. I watch peers do it. I watch you all do it. I've been on the receiving end.
You think this is a gotcha moment?
Yeah, you guys love it.
How can you be?
You guys can't get more excited.
And have you never done a gotcha moment?
No, I have a strong... Well, like what?
In your various media...
No, when I have a robust conversation with somebody about opinions on something,
even though,
I don't try and trip them up.
Media or part of it, or not part of it, or when you're in or out.
No, I try to make them accountable, give them a rounded perspective. So if I confront somebody with an argument, it's rounded, so they can deal with all aspects of it. Because I want to win the argument on fact, on merit,
so really,
not by creating...
There's nobody else like you.
When you think about some of the stadiums that have hosted games in the World Cup, sometimes it's hard not to be completely overawed. But what's the biggest? One thing we have to be clear about is that older stadiums will have had higher capacities when it was standing only. A good example of this is the old Wembley. For the final in '66, the capacity was 125,000. But that was later reduced to 100 when it was converted into an all-seater in 1990. Another example is this, Mexico City's Estadio Azteca. Back in '86, it's estimated around 115,000 people watched Argentina beat West Germany to win their second World Cup. Essential modernisation so it could be used in the 2026 tournament reduced it to 83,000. You can't talk about old stadiums with high capacities without mentioning Brazil's Maracanã. Some say the jewel in football's crown. In the 2014 World Cup, its capacity stood at just under 79,000. But back in 1950, well, it wasn't official, but estimates believe 210,000 people came to this place for a winner-takes-all match between Brazil and Uruguay. That's still the world record attendance for a live football match, and let's be honest, it's not likely to be beaten anytime soon.
talkSPORT's Big Match Build-Up with Village Hotels. Watch the big games live in the pub and grill at your local Village Hotel. Find your nearest at villagehotels.com.
Good afternoon, everybody. 25-2 here in the UK, and we're live on talkSPORT in partnership with Toolstation. First Stop Toolstation is Jim White, Simon Jordan, and Martin Keown. And three's about to become four because working on France-Spain tonight is a gentleman we worked with over in the US. So let's look ahead to the first of the semi-finals with Village Hotels, and it's a warm welcome in Dallas, Texas, to Brad Friedel. Brad, how are you?
I'm very well, Jim. Martin, how are you? Simon, how are you?
Good, Brad. Good.
My God, you've been getting about that country, have you not, Brad?
Well, yeah, 2 more to go. 2 more games tonight and then the final, and then I can go relax a little bit back home.
Good man. Brad, everybody's asking, right, who's going to get through to meet either England or Argentina? Will it be the French? Will it be Spain? Interestingly, on breakfast this morning, Emmanuel Petit, former World Cup winner, of course, himself with the French, he was asked quite straightforwardly, what about the French? Do they fear Spain? This was Emmanuel.
When they beat us in the National League 5-4, and they beat us as well the last European tournament, we look much stronger now, especially up front. We have so many options, up front to score goals, and this is not the same team. That's why I think we are confident. We respect Spain. We don't feel the same fear that we used to fear, recently when we used to meet Spain. So this is a different game. I think Spain collectively are probably the strongest team. The way they possess the ball all the time, the way they control the rhythm of the game, the way they take away the ball from you all the time, the pressure when they lose the ball straight away. So we have to be aware about that because they are really, really good in the last third of the pitch here.
So Brad, Petit says no, they don't fear them in any shape or form. But the French say Spain are favourites nonetheless. Where do you stand in it?
I'm 50-50 on this one. I think they both have remarkable players in their team. If France, I'm going to use the word weakness. It's not really a weakness. It's like if their defending capabilities are not as good as going forward, and saying that they've only conceded 2 goals in the tournament. I think Spain will get chances against them. It just depends on who scores the goals at the right time. But I just think it's so difficult to stop Olise with the form that he's in, and Doué and Dembele and Barcola and Cherki and Mbappe. They're just so good going forward. But Spain has only conceded 1 goal in the tournament, and they're very good team-oriented defensively. So I think anyone would be a little bit silly placing a bet on this game, to be honest with you, because I know you go through your odds on the show. This one is too difficult to call. I'm just really looking forward to watching it. I think whoever wins this is going to go into the final as favorites. It doesn't mean they're going to win it, of course. But this is a remarkable matchup. And when you go through the individual matchups on paper, there's so many permutations that can occur. That it's just truly one of the more remarkable matchups this tournament's had.
I mean, Brad's right, Martin, isn't he? Defensively sound, the Spanish. Goals conceded 1, shots on target faced 7. The defensive record is great. Can it hold up to what will be an irresistible French attack?
The Spanish actually as well, Brad. They press really high. They're really good at pressing. They're well, and they kill you with their passing. Obviously Rodri, it starts with him in that midfield. But when you look at it, and you have to make a call on this, I just feel that the French attack is irresistible when you look at the options they've got. Dembele now going out on the wing. Elise has been given, I feel, Brad, almost the Messi role. So Deschamps keeps improving, keeps making little innovations to his team. Obviously, he's had an awful lot of games now, hasn't he, as a manager? What are we in his fourth World Cup? Their third successive semi-final. They've been in two finals out of those 3 World Cups. He just keeps producing, and I think this is his best ever team. I think this is the team that goes on, but they've still got to go and do that, of course. But Mbappe looks as if, I mean, he left PSG, and it seemed as if the French public fell out of love with him. But he's rebuilding his career and their affection for him with his performances, Brad, in this World Cup. He's been immense.
Well, it's an interesting one you say that about the pressing, Martin, because if Spain presses them high and they break the press, it's impossible. I don't care who you are defensively in the world. It's impossible to stop Dembele, Olise, Doué, and Mbappe if they break the press. But in saying that, Upamecano and Saliba are prone to giving the ball away, and they've actually done that in previous games in the World Cup. So I think Spain has a little bit of a dilemma. Do we go all out and press, knowing that the French team will break it every now and again? And when they do break the press, they create a chance. They don't score every single one of them. But I remember I was calling the game they played against Norway. They created 18 clear-cut chances in the first 45 minutes of football. So it's an interesting one to see how they'll approach this game, the Spanish defensively, whether they might just go a little bit lower, but then to really try to swarm the ball in the middle third, because when Spain wins the ball as well, they're very good going forward. So again, it's
Brad. I think they'll stick. They stick to their philosophy, don't they? Because
I would think so, but let's hit 15 minutes into the game, Martin, and France has 5 opportunities already because Kone and Rabiot are playing incredible and they're breaking through the press. It's just going to be really intriguing to see how the two managers approach it.
I mean, what do you honestly think, Brad? Is it going to be one of two things? Is it going to be game of the tournament, or are they just going to cancel each other out?
Well, I think even as a 0-0, it'll be one of the games of the tournament for the football purists, because that means both managers are really on top of it tactically, and the players are really adapting to it. I can see, that's why it's so difficult to bet on this or to predict this match. This could be 5-5, it could be 5-4, it could be 0-0, it could be 1-1, it could go to penalties. This one could be anything.
Brad, there's talk of maybe Nico Williams playing, who gives you really good pace on the one wing. And obviously Yamal looks the one player capable of beating any defence.
I think William, I'm not sure. There's words about if he's going to start or not. If he's fit to go at least 75, 80 minutes, I would play him against this French team, because you need athletes against this French team, and that would be another added bonus for Spain. It's just a matter of how long he can go. But with Olmo and Lamine Yamal, I said it right that time, Simon, and Oyarzabal, going forward, they're formidable. So I guess I would give the French, Martin, 50.2% advantage in this game. I mean, but it's really difficult to tell.
So if it's hard to split them tonight, Brad, what about tomorrow night? England, Argentina, on you go.
I like England in this one. I've covered Argentina a couple times. I did the Argentina-Switzerland game. In the second halftime, Murat Yakin really got it right. Messi hadn't really touched the ball since the goal McAllister had scored. I think they're a little bit leggy in the middle of midfield. They do defend well. They do defend hard, but they also concede quite a few chances. They keep in mind they really struggled against Cabo Verde. They really struggled against Egypt. They were second best against Switzerland until Embolo got sent off. I think this Argentina team is not the same as 2022. I think there's some history that we all know about. This game's going to be fiery, but I think when all's said and done, England come out on top, and then England's going to have to face one of these two teams today.
Brad, okay.
Brad, where do you see Messi? Obviously he's 38 years of age. Is this his best World Cup? Because if you're saying the team is really not as good as it was before, certainly his performances haven't dropped. These were 2-0 down against Egypt, and he pretty well got them out of a massive hole. Do you think this is his best World Cup?
It's a different World Cup for him, Martin. Like in the attacking third, he's still quick and he can still produce the goods for sure. But he's a different player today. He's not on the ball as much as he was in the 2022 World Cup, which is completely normal. If you're England, you have to keep an eye on him. Switzerland did a very good job for the most part until, unfortunately, their legs gave out against them. Where this Argentinian team struggle a little bit is as the game develops, they lose a lot of possession and a lot of 50-50 battles in the middle of midfield, and then their back four isn't as strong as it's been, and they do concede a lot of chances. I firmly believe if Embolo hadn't been sent off, that Switzerland would have gone on to win the game. And that was really their first test of the tournament. I'm not talking about test of character test because they've had plenty of them, but it was really the first test against a well-structured team. And with all due respect to Switzerland, they're not a France and England or a Spain.
Okay, Brad, thank you so much, mate. Brad's on duty tonight. France against Spain, the first of the two semi-finals. England, Argentina tomorrow night. Both of them live on talkSPORT. And you can watch the games live in the pub and grill at your local Village Hotel. Find out your nearest at villagehotels.com. Plus, for a chance to win a Village Hotel VIP experience for the World Cup final at a Village Hotel near you, head to talksport.com/win.
talkSPORT's Big Match Build-Up with Village Hotels. Watch the big games live in the pub and grill at your local Village Hotel. Find your nearest at villagehotels.com.
They get into this weird situation where they forget what happened before. So all the big games, they played Havertz, right? Mm-hmm. Gyökeres, who you bought in at the start of the season, was going to be, for all the big games, in all the big games, he was on the bench. Yeah. Facts, that's what happened. Mm-hmm. So the manager doesn't trust him. That's not our opinion, that's just objectively looking at it. Havertz gets injured quite a lot, unfortunately. Gary Jesus is not the same since he's come back from his injury. So if you're now telling me that you can get through this season again and everybody else is going to be as poor as they were last year, I think you're just forgetting the fact that you lot were all losing your marbles around the Man City loss. And it was, we need a proper striker. Arteta don't know what he's doing again. You win the league, it's great, we're going to win it.
But you know, what I've always said to, I've always said to you, I always said to him that Gyökeres wasn't bought in for the big games, didn't I? I said that to you. We bought Gyökeres in for the game.
No, I get
listen,
explain.
I want to hear the year before, Arsenal, it weren't the record against Man City's, the Liverpool. It weren't that cost us the league. It was we couldn't beat Fulham, couldn't beat West Ham, couldn't beat them lesser clubs. Gyökeres coming. I mean, he said it. Right, it's one of them. Gyökeres this season though. Gyökeres this season scored against the Fulhams, the West Ham, so we didn't have a problem getting past those teams, which is why then we went on to win the league.
Okay, I think you won the league because you played very pragmatic football. I'm not actually allowed to say the type of football that people are calling it on air, but you played a certain type of football.
Would you play that type of football to win the league?
No.
What
are you talking? Of course you would.
Honestly.
If I was a footballer.
No, it's just like...
my team.
Yeah.
No, I'll be happy like you lot. I'll be exactly... You get me? I'll be happy. Of course I will.
But would you like to see Spurs play that way to win?
Brendan Johnson scored with like his knee or something and we won the trophy. I'm happy. I don't care, bro. However it gets done, I'm happy. I don't really care. But what I'm saying is, you can't like gloat about it and say, we don't need a 9. That's crazy. You do need a 9, respectfully. What are you talking about, bro? If you sold Osimhen and Havertz right now, you could... Osimhen. If you bought Osimhen and sold Gyökeres and Havertz right now, you'd be great. You'd be fine. You could buy Barcola. Barcola and Osimhen changes their team, bro. Sure.
Get ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com.
The Playbook with talkSPORT Bet. Download the app or visit talksportbet.com for all the latest odds and offers. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
I'm delighted to say that Ryan Douglas from talkSPORT Bet Ambassador, is in studio. We'll get to Ryan in a second. Let's head to Edgbaston. It's the first ODI. England, India, John.
Yeah, fight back for England. A partnership of 79. It means they're 186 for 6. Joe Root at the crease. We know a lot about him. 20 50 over centuries to his name. He's 38 from 44. But Liam Dawson is really one of those unsung heroes. He's only played 6 ODIs in the 10 years since he made his debut. He's only ever faced 76 deliveries along those times. Well, he might be facing 76 deliveries today. He's faced 63. He's just lofted Washington Sundar over square leg for 6, and he's 2 away from what will be his maiden first-class century. Oh, his maiden list day half century. So good stuff from England, but they've still got some way to go to make this a game. 187 for 6 then, and we're at the start of the 38th over.
Okay, John, thank you very much indeed. I mentioned Ryan Douglas, talkSPORT Bet Ambassador, is in studio. He was with us out in the US of A. He is now with us on the 17th floor of the News Building at London Bridge, to be precise. Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you all, as always.
How good is it, Simon? This man boards a train every day coming from New Street, Birmingham, and joins us live.
It's amazing.
It is amazing. Thank you so much for that one-word reaction. Ryan, where are we going to go?
Listen, I'm taking that to the grave with me, by the way.
Yeah.
That Simon said that something I did was amazing. Let me tell you, one word or not.
Look, can you clip it up? Amazing. Mbappe.
Yes.
What are you thinking?
The entity, the amazing player that is Mbappe. Yeah, he's leading the race for player of the tournament. He's on at 7-4. He's odds on to be the top goal scorer as well. 20 World Cup games, 20 World Cup goals. So I said to the traders, I said to talkSPORT Bet, do something for me on Mbappe. Please, super boost something for me. And they have 2 shots on target today in the game within 90 minutes is super boosted. It's gone from 9 to 20 all the way to evens. So I'm very, very happy with that. I don't always shout out the super boosts, but I'm shouting out this one. 2 shots on target, removes that need for it to hit the back of the net. So, yeah, I mean, for me, guys, he's already one of the best players in modern history. I think he's disrespected to not be in the conversation when you see what he's done for France, the fact that he's playing for Real Madrid. I don't know if you follow that sentiment as well. I've had a few debates with Cundy and Rory Jennings on it, but I think he's up there.
Remarkably driven player. He's so direct now. Defences don't seem to be able to stop him. He's got that incredible pace that he generates. Just looking, actually, if he gets a penalty, do you think, what are the odds to miss it? These are the sort of questions I'd be asking.
Yeah, the odds to miss it.
Messi's already missed a couple.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the odds to miss it I don't think would have on site. But yeah, Messi criminally isn't very good at penalties, to be honest with you. I think he's missed 50% of them that he's taken in the World Cup. So for someone as amazing as him, he can miss it. Mbappe from the spot, I would back 9 times out of 10.
Did you ever take a penalty, Martin?
No, not at a high level, no.
Why was
not
that?
a good idea. Probably not a good idea.
I put my money on Keown, would you not?
Cup Winners' Cup semi-final. I remember being in a fight with Steve Bolt, but we were both trying. One of us had to take it next if David Seaman didn't get us out of trouble and save.
So who took it?
No, because Dave saved the penalty. So we were saved. We were rescued by our great keeper.
You would have had the bottle to take one.
It probably would have been me, actually.
Wouldn't you?
Stupidly enough to go and do it.
You wouldn't have shirked the
we weren't even
responsibility.
practicing these days. Everyone's practicing. Everyone's got an idea of taking them.
Yeah.
I certainly would go up and I wouldn't be stuttering as I went up. I think I would. I'd certainly be drilling it into the corner if I could.
Gee, I love that. Did you take a penalty in that charity match at Wembley?
No, I scored a goal. I didn't need to take a penalty.
Thanks for that. Spain versus France, the fixture itself, where are you going with it, Ryan?
Yeah, Brad Friedel absolutely killing me saying if I was to, I wouldn't bet on this game. I nearly left. I nearly went back to Birmingham when he said that, but we are here. France are 11-8 favourites to win the World Cup. Maybe you do get creative with it. And he said, I mean, it's that unstoppable force, immovable object. Yeah, I do get that. And there's so many possibilities. You can look at, it's plausible. It could go all the way to penalties. That's 17-2 for either side to win on penalties. So you could look at that outcome. Do you agree with Brad's sentiment, Simon? I'll put this one to you, that the winner of the World Cup will come from this semi-final, because he alluded that whoever wins this will potentially be the favourites.
Not necessarily. I mean, I've tipped England all the way through, despite the fact I don't think they've played well and I think they've ridden their luck. I still think there is a distinct possibility that they might find a way to grind their way through against even the best opposition.
Yeah.
So if I wouldn't bet on it. If you asked me to bet on England to win the final against the French or the Spanish, no. If you're asking me to put my heart on the line and my emotions about what I want to happen, I think there's a chance. I think we have a distinct possibility.
He's just said Brad Friedel has said he wouldn't put any money on anything.
Yeah, he wouldn't.
You've just said you wouldn't bet on it. Ryan, in case it's gone unnoticed, represents talkSPORT Bet.
Yeah, I'll see you guys. I'll see myself out, guys. I'll see you later.
I tell you what.
Well, they're super boosting the even bets. That's hardly that fascinating, isn't it?
What about semi-final goal scorers, Ryan?
Yeah, so we offer a market. It's kind of like wiping the slate clean. Across both semi-finals, who's going to score the most goals? They've put 8 superstars in there, which include Mbappe, who's leading the betting at 7-2, Keown second in the betting at 9-2, Bellingham's bottom of the betting at 9-1 to get the most goals across any of these 8 superstars. So if you go to talkSPORT Bet, download the app, you see it on the specials tab. It will be there, this market. It's up until kick-off today. Dead heat rules apply, I have to say that. Martin, the question is, out of all the superstars, and it is the tournament of the superstar, who do you think will shine the most across both semi-finals?
I think Elise.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for me, he's player of the tournament.
More so than Mbappe, more so than Keown?
I think he's one of the key reasons why they're doing so well now, and the freedom that they get around. Dembele's a better player for him. You know, he wasn't the 10, the natural 10. Elise's become the natural 10 and maybe like a Messi type role. And that's Deschamps looking at other teams and saying, okay, how can I make my team better? Of course, he played for Bayern Munich as a winger.
Yes.
And Vincent Kompany sees him as a winger, but certainly for France in that central role. And eventually all the best players, the game controllers, they come into those central areas and then they're at their best. And I think
Elise's been player of the tournament?
For me, he's been.
So far?
He's really enhanced France in the way they play.
I mean, Bellingham's written his name all over this tournament.
Well, yeah, he's our best English player and he is phenomenal. And we might well see these two together in a final.
Yeah.
And I think it comes down to that.
Right. Okay. Ryan, thanking you. We see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Always a pleasure.
Simon will be amazed yet again when you stride into the studio having taken the train from Birmingham.
Very difficult stepping on a train and stepping off a train, Jim, I have to say.
Mate, you're doing it for us, and we're happy about that. Thank you very much indeed, Ryan. Remember, those were the latest odds thanks to talkSPORT Bet. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
The Playbook with talkSPORT Bet. Download the app or visit talksportbet.com to see all our latest sign-up offers. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Look, we've seen some amazing players play for England in my lifetime, but I feel that what Bellingham is doing, even if you compare it to Keown, and Keown is an icon, Keown is one of England's greats as well, but Bellingham feels different.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think he's the greatest player to ever play for England?
Can we frame this question in a slightly different way?
Go on.
Can we just discount the 66 winners? Like,
Okay.
I can't.
You can't
They won
go against Bobby Moore.
They've won it. They've won it.
Okay,
Like,
but is he the best player you've seen in an English shirt ever?
He's not. He's probably not the best player, but he might be the best England player, the best player for England. Like, look, you could argue that Steven Gerrard was a better player than him. You could argue that Paul Scholes was. You could argue that lots of players were, but none of them did it for England in the way that Bellingham has already. Already, 22 years old. Already, think about what happened in Qatar. Think about what happened in Germany, and this World Cup, he's taken it to a completely different level.
Yeah,
like I think it's amazing. I don't
Rooney?
Rooney never did it for England quite like Rooney. I was there. Rooney scored 1 goal at a World Cup for England.
Yeah,
like Jamie Carragher wrote a piece in yesterday's Telegraph, and he was talking about Gaza. He was kind of making the comparisons with Gaza. Gaza captured a nation, and all that.
Yeah,
and he obviously did. And you think of his performances in Italia '90 and then Euro '96, but I didn't know this until I read Carragher's article. Gaza didn't score at Italia '90. He didn't score. Bellingham's got 6 in 6. It's different. I don't see how you can say that he's not better than what Gerrard did for England. Gerrard had his moments, remarkable footballer. But Rooney's contribution, Gerrard's contribution, Lampard's contribution, it just can't be bigger than what Bellingham has already done. Do you agree?
Yeah, I kind of do. I mean, Gaza was my idol growing up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I look at what he'd done and how he played. I think Bellingham's better.
Talk Sport.
Afternoon. I'm Ben Fletcher. Good afternoon to Atlanta in a moment. But first, England are digging in at Edgbaston after a tricky spell with the bat. Watching the first ODI for talkSPORT, John Norman.
200 up for England. I thought India might be batting by now when Will Jacks was dismissed. 107 for 6 at that stage. An unlikely hero, Liam Dawson, who's 55 not out. A likely one in Joe Root, who's 45. He was dropped on 7 by Shivam Dubey. 93 for 5 at that stage. If Root had gone, then possibly India would have been batting by now, but they're not. England 201 for 6, and we're in the 40th over.
And there's plenty to see and do on the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel. Now, both FIFA and the FBI have warned that England versus Argentina is the highest risk fixture at the 2026 World Cup. Local police in Atlanta are beefing up security with the Falklands conflict, a possible source of tension between fan groups. A veteran of 1998 and 2002, David Seaman has told talkSPORT he's quietly confident.
Obviously, they've got Messi. They've got a lot of players that are Premier League players, so they know each other. But if we play our best, and we haven't played our best yet, and we're still in the semi-final, but there's still a lot to come.
There are whispers that Declan Rice is fit and ready to start against Argentina live on talkSPORT tomorrow evening. Next, as we hear UEFA members leading calls to back an opposition candidate to challenge for the FIFA presidency, World Cup winner Emmanuel Petit has told talkSPORT Gianni Infantino doesn't care about football, he's only bothered about the next election.
He wants to open, the World Cup to everybody in the world to get the vote afterwards, because he knows he's in danger, for everything he has done so far.
Infantino claims a 64-team World Cup would give every nation the chance to dream of making the World Cup. With 38 days to go till the return of the Premier League, Carl Darlow has moved to Manchester United on a free. Lately of Leeds, the Wales international has agreed a 2-year contract. Brighton, in the meantime, have smashed their transfer record. They've agreed a £50 million deal for 19-year-old Spurs defender Luka Vuskovic, who signed a 5-year deal. Plenty more at talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
The number of BBC TV licences dropped by more than 500,000 in a single year, and almost £10 billion of taxpayers' money was wasted on PPE during the COVID pandemic. More from Amelia at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Keep summer journeys safe. Visit your local centre or quickfit.com to book your tyres, MOTs and servicing, so you can drive away happy every time.
Warm and dry for most of us this afternoon. When that cloud clears, sunny as well.
Ready?
Good afternoon, everybody. It is Tuesday afternoon. It's Jim White, Simon Jordan and Martin Keown. We are live on talkSPORT, looking ahead to France up against Spain in the first World Cup semi-final, live on talkSPORT, and then England going against Messi and Argentina tomorrow night, the second semi-final, live on talkSPORT. Later on, Alex Crook will be joining us from the United States. All sorts of things going on in the world of football, not least a whole bunch of transfer movement. Yuri Tillemans, Manchester United set to sign Tillemans from Aston Villa by triggering his £35 million release clause. What do you think of that, Martin?
He went there on a free transfer. He's done a very, very decent job, as we know. Villa are obviously having to balance the books. It's a shame they can't keep him. He's been integral to their success.
Yeah,
he's had a decent World Cup, so I get it. I can see that they need that type of player.
They can't keep him. It's not because they've got to balance the books in this instance, because it's a release clause.
Well, they need
and the release. No, they can't stop.
But they did take him for nothing, didn't they, son?
I know, but you'd still like to think that
should have been a release clause been 50 mil.
Well, you'd like to think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah. It looks like Alejandro Garnacho's Chelsea career is all over. It could well be moving from them. Roma said to be his next port of call. Anyway, more from Alex. Mason Greenwood maybe to Fenerbahce. We'll hear from Alex Crook very shortly. In the meantime, let's focus on England-Argentina, but not on the field of play, what may or may not go on off the field of play. For England against Argentina, there's going to be limited segregation inside the 75,000-seat stadium in Atlanta, which is a theme of this tournament. There's expected to be a 50-50 split on Wednesday, whilst official ticket allocations distributed via national federations are keeping the fans separate. FIFA's policy allows rival fans buying other tickets inside the ground to sit together. Now, the police in Atlanta are hoping that no incidents occur, of course, but they're mindful of potential flashpoints sparked by chants about the Falklands War and Diego Maradona's Hand of God. We're going to talk about this in a second. The Atlanta Police Department, for their part, says it will, quote, enhance its citywide public safety and security posture ahead of England-Argentina, whatever that means. Scaloni, the Argentinian head coach, says the message to the Argentinian people is that this is a soccer match. We're going to face a great team with a great coach, but it's a soccer match, nothing more than that. And Jordan Pickford has echoed that.
It's just a game of football, and both passionate set of fans going there to watch a top-level game of football, and that's what football does. It brings fans together, it brings the nations together, and it's both proud nations. That's the key to it. We're both proud nations, but yeah, the football will do its talking.
Simon, England, Argentina. Is it just a football match?
Well, not for me, it's not, because it's an entire validation of my theory. If England don't beat Argentina, then I have to fall backwards on my theory about what Southgate achieved. So for me, it's more than that. But as far as a football match, yeah, of course, it's just a football match. I mean, the proximity of the 86 tournament to the 82 circumstances in the Falklands, has resonance. But 45 years later, or 40 years later since that tournament, and the Maradona circumstance, we've played them in the 98 World Cup. And obviously there was a circumstance there with Simeone and what went on there. We played them in 2002. It provides a spice, it provides a bit of energy, it provides a bit of narrative. But it shouldn't present people with an opportunity to take it beyond that. And I'm not sure that it will. I don't know what the crowds were like in 98 in France, how many English fans were in there and how many Argentinians were there and what it was like there. And I don't know what it was like. My father went to the game in 2002 when they beat them 1-0 with a Beckham penalty. And again, I don't know what the situation was surrounding the fans and how they were segregated and how much of an atmosphere there was between the fans. I don't think there will be flashpoints. Listen, I hope to be not naively wrong. I think it is simply a football match with a bit of seasoning attached to it, because we create the history between these two countries, one being a war in 82 and the other being an altercation on a football field in 86, and another one being a 98 situation with Beckham.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't see...
Well, I was involved actually for both of those.
You were in the squad, Martin, right?
Yeah, 98 and 2002, and it was very, very different. I think that David Seaman alluded to it this morning, but both teams were parked together outside the ground, and their coach was bumping up and down, and they gave it to us when they beat us in the 98 game.
In what
Obviously,
way?
Beckham was sent off, and the teams were down to 10 men. We were down to 10 men. I think we lost on penalties on that one. So, and then we were able to win the next one, so we were able to celebrate. But we weren't parked next to them in the car park this time, so we couldn't really give it to them. But no, they didn't hold back, should we say. You could see it, but I didn't remember any real trouble from the supporters, actually, certainly in the ground. And I just think there was we are 40 odd years on from that, Simon, aren't we? And let's hope that football is the winner in this. All the games, as I say, I've seen, and the game I experienced, it was great to see. Supporters at the game I was at, Norway and Brazil, sitting side by side, Jim, because that's the situation, that's the flow, that's how it's all working out there.
But this new phenomenon...
This might test on this.
But this new phenomenon that didn't exist in our time, in the time of 2002 and 98, is the social media activity. When you see the Argentinian team now singing the song about the liberation of the Malvinas, their version of Argentina, and singing it specifically for a reason, it can create a different temperature, and that's one of the downsides of social media. It gives you great insight on one respect and gives you an opportunity for some stupidity in others.
Yeah.
So that ingredient wasn't there. But like you said earlier on, the interesting thing is, given the price point of ticketing now, you are eliminating a certain section. you know, the
People
old
will spend their life
EDL
savings
crowd
to get there. You know, people will spend their life savings to get there.
Sure.
And travelling the team,
And
and
I
the
don't think
expense is
I don't think
incredible.
they'll be particularly interested in getting thrown out of the stadium for fighting then, or inappropriate behaviour in this course of stadium.
I mean, we've all been to matches. Fan segregation is this World Cup, Simon, proving that is unnecessary?
Yeah, up to now.
Yeah, up to now.
Jim, I mean, in the streets of New York.
No, not necessarily. But, I mean, we this is a celebration of football. The World Cup is a celebration of football, and everyone mixes together. There's been a few flashpoints. I don't know if the Ecuadorians and the Mexicans had a bit of an issue, didn't they? In
Times Square.
In Times Square. But other than that, when we were in Qatar, we saw people all the time in different football strips mixing with one another.
Yeah.
Because there's a different feel about a tournament such as this. Whereas in domestic football, there's the age-old rivalries.
It's more tribalistic.
It's more tribalistic. I don't feel it pervades international football quite as much.
Yeah.
So I don't fear for this fixture.
Okay, but then this surprises me. The police here have urged England fans at home, not over in the US, but at home, to follow the example of their fellow fans in the United States after more than 500 domestic football-related incidents over the weekend. They took place around England's 2-1 win over Norway. More than 100 arrests. Pub licensing hours, of course, allowed fans in England and Wales to watch the entire Norway game, which kicked off at 10 o'clock at night. But our old friend Simon, Chief Constable Mark Roberts, head of the UK Football Policing Unit, says the atmosphere during the game was passionate but friendly, no animosity between fans at the end of the match. It's a real shame that the same can't be said about the behaviour of some fans back home in the UK. Domestically, this tournament is the worst one we have seen for a number of incidents and arrests. And he goes on to say, if we can have 40,000 fans together in Miami with no trouble, then why can't fans follow their exemplary behaviour and do the same back home? So it's not out there.
I don't know
he's
what
talking about.
I don't know what he's referring to. I mean, obviously we saw in one of the Euros when England played the Swedes that they started to invade. England fans ran into IKEA stores and jumped onto a bus stop. So we've seen situations where people get over exuberant. Fan zones, there's hundreds of thousands. So comparing 40,000 fans in America to hundreds of thousands of fans that are sitting in fan zones around this country is probably a fool's comparison. But I don't know what he's referring to. Is it drunk and disorderly? I don't know what the arrests are for.
I think it's
they won't
enhanced.
be seeking out random Argentinians to bash them up, will they?
No, I think it's drink related, but he's certainly putting on record because he says ahead of Wednesday's game against Argentina, I would urge fans back home to follow those leading by example in the US.
Yeah, and we don't want to see that in our local communities. We don't want to see trouble, trouble. We've seen it, haven't we, in the Champions League progressively, not just in the UK. We've seen this when PSG won the Champions League, Jim. They rioted for 48 hours.
Yeah.
So, this is a strange phenomenon that we get now. And, of course, we don't want unrest in our major cities. But
of course.
It just
we're
seems
not
to be
talking
a thing
about
at the
anything
time.
on that scale
they
here.
would say that in situations surrounding PSG, it was hijacked by other people that had different motivations for doing what they did in the Champs-Élysées.
Yeah.
For this situation, I don't know what he's referring to.
Well, he's referring to the trouble here, apparently, Simon, centres on the incidents. The vast majority of them, says Mark Roberts, have been alcohol-related. And along with the extended licensing hours, we've seen an increase in calls to premises with big screens that are attracting large numbers of fans.
Yeah, so that's the reasons why it's not comparable to what's happening inside football stadiums, isn't it?
Mm.
Because you've got 40,000 fans sitting inside a football stadium watching the games or scattered around watching the games.
Right.
You've got hundreds of thousands of fans sitting inside a fan zone drinking. So, whilst you can turn around and say those that are inside the stadiums that are operating in a certain way is a benchmark, I think you just have to manage the circumstances. I mean, I don't know. If we're talking about hundreds of arrests and we're talking about hundreds of thousands of people.
See, I think getting back to your point, Martin, maybe some of these fans who have stayed home might have headed to the US.
Maybe.
But the cost has been prohibitive.
Yeah. And so obviously they're creating unrest in their local communities. I do feel what is gratifying though is having been to so many tournaments and not been in the UK when the tournament is on, is how many flags there are, how many people are supporting England, how many young kids walking around with England shirts. It is the groundswell, Jim, of interest is magnificent. I wish the players got some sort of concept of what that's about. Because when you're abroad, you can't really see it unless they're they're giving you the ITV, BBC One channels coming in. They try to do that so that people can see what's happening at home. But honestly, it's massive here. So much support. And I do feel it galvanises the country. So we need to win something big. We haven't done it for 60 odd years. Why not this year?
Yeah, yeah. I must admit, I'm surprised, Simon, that Mark Roberts, the Chief Constable, I'm surprised at what he's saying. I wouldn't have noticed that from news bulletins here since you and I came back.
Either. I mean, listen, if indeed the arrests are up, if empirically the data is right, that they are arresting more people for drunken disorderly stuff than in previous tournaments, then he has every right to turn around and say that people should just behave themselves.
Yeah.
People should be, reflect the sentiment of celebrating something rather than taking it to the point where people are having to be arrested.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact you've got police officers to arrest them is an amazing thing to me, because most of the time they don't arrest anybody these days, do they?
That's right. One of Martin's former players at Arsenal, Leandro Trossard, on the go. He could be heading to Besiktas in Turkey. No doubt Alex Cook will keep us up to date with what's going on that one. That and a whole bunch more. It's Jim White, Simon Jordan, Martin Keown in partnership with Toolstation live in talkSPORT for your trade or DIY projects. First stop, Toolstation.
Newcastle's summer exodus is set to reach a crisis point. Sean, you'll have heard this news. Sandro Tonali, Anthony Gordon, of course, already out the door. Club captain and fan favourite Bruno Guimaraes has reportedly informed the hierarchy that he wants to join champions Arsenal. With another star player forcing his way out, Darren Bent raised serious concerns about what this loss could mean for Eddie Howe next season.
Yeah, I do feel for Eddie Howe. I really do, because again, if Bruno leaves tonight, he's obviously gone to Tottenham as well. Isaac, they just haven't been able to kind of recruit the players certainly the quality that they've lost. And you look at what they've bought some of these players for. Isaac, was it 60 million? They're selling for 120. Like tonight, they bought him for a fee. They're selling for more. So clearly, he's improving these players. But at some point, I think if Newcastle do want to go to the next level, they've got. I know it's hard with the PSR and the financial fair play, but if they do want to go to the next level and then stay there, they've got to find a way of holding on to some of these players.
Oh, look at Darren and his floral number. Watching on the smart TV like that, sure. Do you have sympathy for Eddie Howe in this situation? The latest is that Bruno has agreed personal terms with Arsenal, but Newcastle's stance is that he remains not for sale.
Yeah, I do. I mean, it's really tough, and the challenge that you have is not just if one of your big players goes at any football club, at any level really. People understand there's a time and a place. When two go, that can make other players a bit itchy and a bit nervy. But then if three go, all of a sudden they go, hang on a minute, who are we bringing in? And I think they're right on that cusp. I don't know their situation at PSR, but I've been through that, obviously, in my time at Everton, so I know how dangerous that can be. But I think losing the players of that quality, I think that's really tough on Eddie, and I think he's done a great job there. So hopefully, I mean, look, you never know on the other side of that. Good people in their recruitment there. They've shown that over the years, so they might have people lined up, don't forget. So these things can twist very quickly when you get a freshness in the camp and a newness and some quality, and all of a sudden it can feel different.
Get ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com.
Let's head to Edgbaston, the first ODI, England-India. Here's John.
It's just been a wicket, 228 for 7, and a terrific partnership for the 7th wicket between Liam Dawson and Joe Root has just come to an end. Liam Dawson deep in his crease and pulling a ball via the toe end of the bat, really, to deep backward square leg. So his innings has come to an end. Fine partnership alongside Root, who's still there, 59 not out. One thing that may concern England, though, that's the first wicket that's gone the way of spin, with Axar Patel picking up the wicket. India coming in with 4 seamers, and England choosing to come in with 3 spinners. So we'll see how that one plays out. Archer, the new batter. Root still there, 59 not out. England 228 for 7 in the 45th.
John, thank you very much indeed. Arsenal Invincible, Martin Keown in studio with Simon and myself. We know that after England got through to the semi-final stage, after they beat Norway at the weekend by 2-1, Tuchel said a bunch of things. We were lucky today. We need to play better. And of course, he said that the performance, he wasn't happy with that to a large extent. He said a whole bunch of things when he was pushed post-match. Then in the mixed zone, Jude Bellingham opened up as well and said this.
Thomas has just been quite critical of the performance after the game. Does that show the standards that he expects, the standards you guys expect of each other, and maybe that there's more to come from the team?
Maybe, but maybe he doesn't know what it's like to play in those kind of conditions against Erling Haaland, Odegaard, Nusa, Sorloth. You know, that's not an easy team to play against. So, you know, I think we've tried to create a positive environment. We should continue that going into the Final Four. I can't speak highly enough for the lads. You're not going to win every game popping the ball and making 1,000 passes. Sometimes you have to win dirty, and we've done that again tonight.
There's been a lot of discussion, Martin, about this. Simon and I were discussing it yesterday, as you may have gathered. Jude Bellingham there. Is honesty the best policy outside of the dressing room?
I think so. I think we want characters, don't we, within the media? We want to be able to hear how they really feel. He's definitely a leader. I think it's interesting between the relationship between him and the manager, because we get this player and we get this kind of comment in the media because of the relationship they have. And by the way, we don't want it to change because he's been absolutely magnificent on the pitch.
Yeah.
And so I don't think there's anything really wrong with it. I think a couple of tournaments down the line, we might be saying, do you know what? That's the boss. You know, that's Simon. That's the way Simon behaves. We all have to, we know how he is. He's high expectations and that's the boss. But so that hasn't come in. He hasn't said that. And you have to protect one another because obviously we're trying to create healthy respect. But I think that's there, Jim. But I'll take all day long the performances we're getting from Bellingham. Regarding Gabriel Clark, I think that was a difficult moment because he got tetchy with the questioning. He wasn't happy. He was asked about suffering. No one ever mentioned suffering. So that kind of put the shutters up a little bit. And then he talked about mentality, which he's not worried about mentality. If the mentality can't be right, Jim, when you get to this stage of a competition, then we'll all have to just give up. This is all about the quality of the performance.
Yes.
So they kind of like fell out with each other over the questioning and the understanding. Maybe some of that's lost interpretation. For his, this is a German man managing the England team. Okay,
and a very good, strongly about mentality, Simon, didn't he?
Yeah, but
he came back about that.
Yeah, because it's not the mentality. Because you can't be right mentally for a game like that, Jim.
Yeah,
this is more about the quality of the performance, and he wants to see that from his team. I think it's the right moment to suggest it, and I'm pretty certain he's going to get it in the next game.
I mean, whatever the debate, Simon, around the media's role, would this have happened under Southgate? Would Southgate, would he have said what Tuchel said?
No, I doubt it, because that's not the way that Gareth operates. Then there's nothing wrong with that. If Gareth wants to operate in a different way to achieve an outcome, all managers work differently. Thomas Tuchel is just acting the way Thomas Tuchel acts as a manager.
Which is refreshing.
Yeah, it is refreshing, only because we've been conditioned into a diet of not being told what's in front of our eyes and allowing that to be developed. And over the last couple of years, you've seen people start to push back against it. You've seen people saying, when Ten Hag was talking, oh, for God's sakes, pack it in. We know what we've watched. You can't sell us that. We've seen what we've seen. And so Thomas Tuchel, in the moment, describing what he saw, there's nothing wrong with Gabriel Clark's interview with Thomas Tuchel. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. Thomas Tuchel gave it to him. He didn't need prompting. He didn't need cajoling. The only altercation was a difference of opinion about what mentality looked like. And Gabriel Clark was asking him whether the mentality affected the performance. I think Thomas Tuchel slightly misunderstood it, but pushed into the territory of saying the mentality of this team is for all to see.
Because sometimes managers say, no, what was said stays in the dressing room. Tuchel decided, no, I'm going to tell it as it is here. And that's where it's refreshing.
Managers are more and more inclined now to talk about. They should never talk about individuals, and some of them have done it in the past. Talked about individuals and dug individuals out, and they've been roundly vilified for it. Talking about the team, it is the manager's right. It is with respect to Jude Bellingham and whether he's a leader or not. And I don't have a problem with Jude Bellingham on any level. I was all for Jude Bellingham being in this England setup. There was never a part of me that thought he shouldn't have been considered. There was never a part of me that ran with certain aspects of the media's suggestion that he wasn't going to play and Morgan Rogers was going to play all day, every day of the week. He's a world-class player. I don't think he needed to say what he said. I maintain that irrespective of what we discussed yesterday about whether the journalist should have brought in the positive side of the conversation at the same time as he brought in the negative, I think Jude could have rode back from it a little bit and doesn't need to be. The manager has every right to question the team. The player does not. The manager does.
But it's hard to tell a player, though, how he should respond to that because it's fighting talk. Because he's like, I'm on the pitch and listen, I'm giving everything. And it was difficult for us, boss, So those things probably are best kept, to keep the respect. As I say, when you've had a longer working relationship and you know how people behave, you can say it in that manner, okay? But I like this feistiness about the player and I like his performance. I like his leadership. Jim, I think within the questioning, when he was talked about, he was asked about suffering. He said, no, I didn't mention suffering, okay? He gave quite a good explanation of what was wrong. And he felt pushed a little bit too far. Now, you like to do the questioning, and you pushed.
Who felt? Tuchel felt pushed too far.
Yes, I felt he did. He did because what he said was, look, we made life difficult. Listen to me. We made life difficult for ourselves. Technically, we made mistakes. And then he talked about, well, look, we weren't quick enough and we weren't repetitive enough in our actions. And so that opened the possibility for other questioning.
And that's fine.
And when to go straight to mentality, he's like, hold on a minute.
Yeah, but he corrected
no, you're missing the point.
He corrected it. And that's
you're missing the point. Mentality. But I'm trying to tell you what Thomas Tuchel said.
But I don't believe that to be true.
Well,
I think Tuchel likes a confrontation. I think Tuchel likes to be in a conversation where he can prove his point. He likes to be able to correct journalists. He likes to be able to occupy centre stage, and he does it very well. The only issue that I have in all of this is that Gabriel Clark did not present a balanced argument to Jude Bellingham. And other than that, I've got no issue with Thomas Tuchel being put to the fire. That's
but I've just listened to that as well. I think there's quite a lot of questions down the line before he does mention it. But I'd rather the media doesn't actually try to divide the group.
But the initial interview that Gabriel Clark did, which everything spiraled off the back of, Gabriel Clark very early in the interview mentioned mentality. And Thomas Tuchel, went after it, corrected it, established it, and shut Gabriel down.
Yeah, he did.
No issue. Now, the other journalists are piggybacking off the back of it. I don't think Thomas Tuchel's got a problem with that. The only issue that anyone has and has had any about this was that Gabriel did not present to Jude Bellingham the positive side of what Thomas Tuchel said, no, the negative. And that's where the disconnect is.
To an extent, I understand what Harry Kane is saying, Simon, because Jude was thrust into it very soon after the final whistle. And Kane is saying he didn't really know what had been said. Correct. What do you want Jude to say? Kane says, we've just been through a battle. It's easy to try and create this division. It seems like an English thing to do at these major tournaments, but it's the complete opposite. The group is where we are because of our complete togetherness.
Yeah, and everybody is sensitive.
But I would still maintain division. I don't see it.
No, that's not building. That's not. And to be honest, Gareth Southgate actually eradicated a lot of that over the years by making sure there was a better connection between the media and the players. There's no doubt about that. But they can say what they want to say, Jim. I just feel it would be nicer if they respect the manager just a little bit more. But I'm not going to question Bellingham because I think he's been magnificent. And that's their relationship, Simon. That's why we're getting the performance between the two.
It might be.
I agree.
But going to the point, I don't think it's division that the media are trying to create. I think they are, with certain sections of the media, they're a product of their environment. And I kept saying it yesterday, and it's not well received. And I said it to Piers Morgan yesterday, the same thing about we love to have the sentiment of it bleeds, it leads. So the sentiment is we want a headline. We want something big. And if we can get it, it's not about creating division. It's about the nature of the industry that we're now in, which is we know that when we get something that's got something about it that's not
clickbait.
Is it clickbait or is it just headline stuff? It's
we're talking about it again, aren't we? Maybe we shouldn't be giving.
There is real togetherness, according to Harry, and they'll need that when they go in against Argentina tomorrow night. Much more on that, of course, today before we go at 4 and tomorrow. Remember, the first semi-final tonight, live in talkSPORT, France, Spain. We're live in talkSPORT in partnership with Toolstation. First stop, Toolstation.
Okay, you want to talk about Messi? Genuine question. Does Messi get in our team?
What do you mean?
Would you swap Bellingham for Messi?
But he's not playing there.
Okay, would you swap Kane for Messi?
He's not playing there.
Okay,
he's a right winger.
Okay, he might get in that position. You wouldn't swap. You wouldn't swap Bellingham, would you? You wouldn't swap Bellingham for me. If I offered you the option now, Messi in, Bellingham out.
Okay, yeah, but you'd move him around, wouldn't you?
No, but if you just give you that a trade, you give them Bellingham, we get Messi. Would you do it? Nah. Would you? You unpatriotic swine.
I didn't say yes. I did say no. But you're asking.
Would you swap Kane for Messi? If that was on offer now, just for this game,
a one-off game.
This game,
a one-off game.
This game on Wednesday night in Atlanta. I'll give you the opportunity to sub off Harry Kane from our starting lineup and bring in Lionel Messi. Do you do that? Absolutely not.
I think. Oh, come on, mate.
Today,
come on.
Harry Kane is a better footballer than Messi today. I'm not saying legacy. Lionel Messi is the greatest.
Lionel Messi is the leading goal scorer.
Lionel Messi is the greatest footballer to have ever lived. No doubt.
He is the leading goal scorer in this World Cup.
In his peak, no doubt.
I know, but
Kane is better than him today, isn't he?
I don't think you can say that.
There is a wane to Lionel.
I don't think
Messi. Lionel Messi. 08. If we're having this conversation, we're having this conversation. 09, when he destroyed Man United in Rome.
Play in this World Cup?
Yeah, I thought he was exceptional. I thought he was exceptional.
Did you watch Harry Kane against Norway? He didn't have his greatest game, did he?
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
Dead on his feet.
Come on. Look at his goals against Congo.
I know, but look at Messi's goals in the tournament.
Okay, I'll give you the option now.
All right,
cards on the table?
All right, go on.
Would you rather have Harry Kane in your starting lineup on Wednesday night or Lionel Messi?
I'm not answering that question because it's
Would you rather?
I'm not answering that question.
Okay, would you rather have Jude Bellingham or Lionel Messi? I can't believe it.
I just don't like. I can't answer that question.
We all know that in history, Pele's a GOAT. He's won the World Cup 3 times, the only man to have done so. But let me tell you about the one he didn't win, and that made him quit World Cups for good. Ahead of the 1966 World Cup in England, Brazil were favourites again. They won in both 58 and 62, meaning a historic three-peat was on. But their opponents all had plans to stop Pelé. Bulgaria set a trend in the first group game. The instruction? Take Brazil's main man out of the game. Pelé came away so battered and bruised he couldn't even take part in Brazil's next match against Hungary, which they lost. He returned for the next one against Portugal, but they channeled their inner Bulgaria. This is one of numerous brutal challenges throughout the 90s. Remember, this was pre-substitution, so Pelé had to hobble on before being carried off at the end. It's even tough to look at now. Brazil lost and were out in the group stage. Speaking years later, Pelé still had sore memories. At the time, he said he'd never play at the World Cup again. FIFA responded by introducing subs and red and yellow cards. Pelé did come back in 1970 as part of the greatest team in World Cup history.
Good afternoon, Jim White, Simon Jordan, Martin Keown. We're live in talkSPORT. Let's head back out to New York City. We just came back from there in recent days. Alex Crook, talkSPORT's chief football correspondent, is still in that great city and still doing some great work. So, Alex, let's forget about the two semi-finals. Bring us up to date with what is going on elsewhere. Where do we start? Leandro Trossard, is he out of Arsenal?
Yeah, good afternoon, Jim. He is indeed. Arsenal have released a statement in the last half an hour or so confirming they've agreed a deal with Besiktas. Leandro Trossard, part of the Belgium side, they got the quarterfinals here at this World Cup, is to undergo a medical in Istanbul. £17 million the fee. There was always a strong possibility that either Trossard or Gabriel Martinelli would be allowed to depart this summer to make space for Arsenal to recruit another wide player. I believe that wide player will be Morgan Rogers. Certainly he's their top target. I would expect now Arsenal to ramp up their interest in the Aston Villa man.
What do you think of it, Martin?
Well, I mean, I'm not surprised, but I think he's been a fantastic servant for Arsenal. Came in and done an amazing job, Alex. And they don't really get a lot of money, Arsenal, from players that they let go. So I think they're looking at this and thinking, OK, we're going to bring another winger in. Which one of Martinelli and Trossard should we let go? And they've probably gone with, I mean, Martinelli was coming into some really good form. I thought he did really well for Brazil.
But Trossard always came up with the goods.
He did. So it's you know, I think he goes really with a heavy heart from the fans. But I can understand the business they're doing. They must have somebody very special lined up, Jim, to come into this role on the left wing for Arsenal.
If it's 100 million for Morgan Rogers, Martin, would that be 100 million well spent?
Gosh. Well, he's a player that was available to everybody when he was at Man City not so long ago. I'm not sure that's the direction that Arsenal will go in, Jim. I can't see that being the case. You know, let's see. You got Dowman, who's a young player coming through, plays as a 10 eventually. So you don't want to be blocking any pathways. Maybe the money's going to be sent on another centre forward. Let's see. Yeah. Which would be phenomenal if they could go for another centre.
Alex, what are you hearing? Morgan Rogers to Arsenal, likely? Where is it?
Yeah, as far as I understand it, Morgan Rogers is the top target to come in and supplement that midfield. I think he would be very open to the move as well. Obviously, Aston Villa under a bit of financial pressure. We're going to come on to Yuri Tillemans and Luca Digne, no doubt. In terms of that forward player, Arsenal's interest in Julian Alvarez has never really gone away. Andrea Berta, the sporting director, was instrumental in his move from Manchester City to Atletico Madrid. So that is certainly one to keep an eye on. I think either of those players coming in, Rodgers or Alvarez, would certainly excite the Arsenal fans.
Let's move to Aston Villa then. You mentioned them there. Lucas Digne. Is he going to Paris?
Certainly looks that way, Jim. Again, a key part of France's route to the World Cup semi-final, no doubt, will be in action for the French against Spain, a game I can't wait to sit and take in this afternoon. Less than £10 million, the release clause in his contract. So that doesn't seem like great business as far as Aston Villa are concerned. And on the subject of Villa, Yuri Tillemans, we understand, has already passed his medical at Manchester United. So that deal is ramping up as well.
Wow. There you go, Simon. It comes after a proposed £43 million deal for Ederson collapse following a medical. So Tillemans in there, triggering his £35 million release clause.
It makes you wonder why these release clauses are so low. I mean, I know that Lucas Digne came out of Everton, didn't he, on the back of a fallout with Rafa Benitez. Is that right?
Right.
That's
yeah,
right,
I remember it. Yeah.
And there was a desire to get him out, and Everton needed to comply with certain things around. They were in special measures after they breached governance, and so they were being managed by the league. So perhaps the fact that the player had a degree of control over the exact nature of the contract in all its entireties, including release clauses. But then you go to Tillemans, and he was a free transfer on the way out. But again, 35 million quid. I mean, lots of players are bought for very little amount of money, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're allowed then to sell them on for a very little amount of money. And in today's marketplace...
But that was the condition of the player coming in, wasn't it? So, you know, if you don't agree to the 35 million, I don't sign for you.
Yeah, but
possibly.
I'm sure all players would like to have that, which is basically have their cake and eat it, which is they can leave when they want to.
Well, he was a free agent, wasn't he?
Alex, does it strike you as these release clauses are being a bit low?
Yeah, absolutely. If you think about the money that Villa are getting, £45 million, won't even pay for Manzambi, the Swiss midfielder they're trying to bring in, the 19-year-old. So, yeah, I think Aston Villa fans are a bit perplexed this morning and obviously concerned about which other players could move, Morgan Rogers being the prime example.
Yeah. We're going to talk about the future of one Alejandro Garnacho of late of Chelsea. Of late of Chelsea, the new man Xabi Alonso's been speaking, and he's been speaking about Garnacho.
Well, the situation, we have spoken with the sports directors, and there is an interest from him, from other clubs. So let's see how it develops. But hopefully it finishes in the best possible ways for all the parts.
Garnacho's out of there, Alex, isn't he?
Yeah, I think that's pretty clear. He hasn't returned for training. That's because I'm told there's interest from Saudi Arabia, from Europe, and even from other Premier League clubs. Chelsea believe they can recoup most of the money they spent on him last summer from Manchester United because his data analytically would fare pretty well, but it's been a terrible signing, isn't he, for Chelsea? Manchester United fans weren't too upset to see the back of him, and he's not exactly gone and proved anybody wrong at Stamford Bridge.
It just has not worked out for Garnacho at Chelsea, has it?
Didn't make the Argentinian squad as well, which was, they'd won Copa America with him playing, so I thought maybe he'd, but he's had an awful time at Chelsea. Question marks around him at Manchester United. I suppose Chelsea have got what they paid for, and now they're trying to get their money back before and rebuild and start to bring other players. I don't like the squad at Chelsea in terms of like the youth and the age, Jim. I think they're going to have to make radical changes to more senior players that are coming. I'm pretty certain Alonso's going down that line.
Right, well, you've got to think that Enzo Fernandez will line up against England. In the meantime, what about his future at Chelsea? Alonso on that?
Yes, we have spoken, but as you can understand, what we have spoken remains private, but yes, we have spoken.
Do you want to keep him though at Chelsea?
Yeah.
He wants him, Alex, doesn't he? He's playing his cards close to his chest, but he wants him.
Yeah, it wasn't overly convincing, though, was he? It wasn't definitive that he would stay at Chelsea. I think the interest in Enzo Fernandez is still going to be there. I think it's really intriguing to see what Enzo Maresca does at Manchester City. Obviously, they had a brilliant relationship during his time at Stamford Bridge. There's still talk that Rodri is very much in Real Madrid's sight, so that would maybe free up a space at Manchester City. So I think this is one, Jim, that you and I are going to be discussing maybe even right up until the final hours of the transfer window.
Oh, my God, that'll soon be upon us. Can you believe it? Xabi Alonso getting used to life at Chelsea, Martin. Are we going to get used to life with him at Chelsea?
Yeah, I think he's an outstanding coach. He showed that, didn't he, at Leverkusen? They went a whole season in his first proper season, unbeaten. Won everything domestically. So I think he'll come in and do a good job. But he's trying to make the change, isn't he? Trying to get... somehow Fernandez will maybe get what he wants. This is going to be a really interesting one, Jim, how this sort of pans out. Because if he's another World Cup winner, supposing Argentina can win the World Cup again, and he wants to go and play where he wants to, Real Madrid have already said they don't want him.
Yeah.
It seems likely. Come back to Chelsea for another year and see if we can do special things with Alonso. That's what I do.
Okay, Alex in New York, thank you very much indeed. Alex Crook, of course, over in the USA as the two semi-finals beckon. I tell you what beckons for us, Edgbaston, the first ODI. Here's John.
England's innings has been wrapped up. They've been bowled out for 258. They wouldn't have taken that when they won the toss and decided to bat, but they would have taken it when they were 107 for 6. The reason we have a contest is a partnership for the 7th wicket of 121 between Liam Dawson, who hit 68, Joe Root left stranded, 76 not out, so that's a little bit of a blow. But certainly India got on top in quick fashion. 61 without loss became 80 for 5 as the seam attack that they brought to this clash really combined well. And if not for a drop by Shivam Dubey of Joe Root when he was on just 7, then maybe England's innings would have come to an end quite some time ago. Axar Patel wrapping things up, picking up 4 cheap ones towards the back end of the innings. But we'll come back in about half an hour's time with the target set by England, 259 to win this first of 3 ODIs after England were bowled out for 258.
John, thanks very much indeed. We're live on air at talkSPORT with Tool Station. First stop, Tool Station.
30-year feud reignited between Roy Keane and Alfie Haaland. So Haaland's dad was obviously at the game, obviously unhappy with how things played out between Norway and England, whether it's his son being penalised for pushing Elliot Anderson in the box and that goal being ruled out, whether it's the ball hitting the spider cam for England's first. So he's really frustrated, and he takes to X to sarcastically congratulate Bellingham and the referee, claimed Norway were robbed by the French referee Clement Turpin. In response, on his podcast, Roy Keane decides to stick the knife in even further by saying that alcohol could have impacted Alfie Haaland's judgment on proceedings because, quote, he always seems to be drinking alcohol at the matches. He added, if you're having a drink, then you're seeing the game differently. No love lost between them. A quick reminder, back in 1997... Roy Keane tore his ACL trying to tackle Haaland when he was playing for City. 4 years later, the two clashed again when Keane issued a premeditated sort of knee-high tackle on Haaland. So, yeah, absolute handbag still 30 years later, Gabs.
Yeah, Roy's a bitter guy, though. Like I said before, I had him at Villa. But at least Haaland hasn't walked out his country at a World Cup.
Oh.
Drop the mic.
Oh.
Where's my water?
Wow. Well, make sure it's not alcohol.
Whatever.
See
Yeah.
things a bit differently.
Glass houses.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if grown men need to be behaving like that when they get an opportunity.
Yeah, but I feel like he's going to be like that. Haaland's dad, he's devastated. His son's not scored or whatever, and his country's going home. There's no harm in that.
And we hear that Haaland wasn't at full fitness either. Tony Cascarino, in fact, got a message at half-time saying that he's been ill. Yeah. And so obviously we see, don't we, with the parents of or the family members of footballers, they passionately defend their loved ones. But it seems that Roy...
Get ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com.
Of course, we saw Cristiano Ronaldo retire from the international scene after Portugal exited the World Cup in the USA. Video stories coming out when certain nations exit the tournament. Belgium goalkeeper Thibaut Courtois has said that he wants to take a break from international football, but the decision lies with the Belgian FA as to whether or not he carries on. Spain beat Belgium 2-1 on Friday. Courtois was subbed in the 71st minute with a leg muscle injury, and he was replaced by Lamens of Manchester United, who was at fault for Spain's winner. Post-match, Courtois said, I perhaps would like to take a break from the Nations League as it's not the most important thing, and maybe come back for the Euro qualifiers. But ultimately, it's a decision the Football Association has to make. If not, perhaps today was my last match. I mean, where's he going with all of that, Martin? Is there anything wrong with picking and choosing as an international player as to when you call time, or maybe you don't?
Well, look, we're all looking for honesty. He simply doesn't know, does he? He's at a painful moment. He's had to go off in the game. They might have done far better if he'd have stayed on, but he couldn't stay on. He did intimate, by the way, that he's been forced to kick so many balls that I think he suffered an injury to his thigh, so he couldn't do that. I think he was having a little bit of a pop at the manager because he wasn't pleased with that element. So he's a little bit angry. I think he will have a future. He's 34 years of age. You know, the way you see goalkeepers now going on to ripe old ages, you're seeing Ronaldo finishing at 41. Courtois being one of the special goalkeepers, Jim. So maybe they do things a bit, you know, there's a special plan for him. He doesn't want to play in the Nations League, he's saying. He doesn't want to play in that. Can you pick and choose? I don't know whether that's really on, but let's let him have his summer off. He'll be probably thinking in a different way at the start of next season.
Is it up to him to decide what competition he plays in?
No, ultimately somebody else decides.
I mean, I know he's been capped 115 times.
Yeah, he's one of their all-time greats, Jim, isn't he? One by one, that golden generation of player is finishing their careers.
Yeah,
and they don't want to let one go to any earlier than they need to. So, you know, maybe there's a special decision made around him. I think it's too early to say. Let him go and have his holiday. Let him rest. Everybody says things on the spur of the moment, Jim. You get no time to think. You put these microphones in front of you. I know you're good at putting the microphones in front of people, but be on the other side for a minute. You don't really know, but you want to give something back. And he's just been honest. He's just been honest.
It feels as if he's thought about it, though, Simon, doesn't it?
Is it his gift to choose when he plays? Yeah. It's the Belgians' FA's gift to decide how they react to that and whether they think that's appropriate or not. Whether they think that... I mean, Courtois, I think, engineered himself out of Chelsea a little bit, didn't he? I think he was a little bit tricky when he wanted to get out of Chelsea and go to Real Madrid, wasn't he? So I think he knows his own mind. I don't think he's quite capable. I mean, the argument could be...
It's a team game, though, isn't it, Simon? So there's another goalkeeper involved here that you're trying to build the confidence of.
Well, that's up to the Belgian FA, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's not like... I mean, like other sports where you pick and choose what tennis matches you're going to play in or what golf matches you're going to play because of the circuit.
I'm just surprised at the note that he's hitting with this. I mean, if Harry Kane was to come out after this World Cup and say, look, I'm not going to play in the Nations League, I'll decide further down the line when I play.
But people might say, well, that shows you the premise of the Nations League that's worth very little to people anyway. And it also say maybe it's sensible because maybe if Shearer could have been convinced into the fact he could have straddled his international career alongside his... I mean, the games that Shearer played, 60 games for England, and he decided at 29 years of age, I think it was, that he could no longer preserve his domestic career if he continued playing internationally. Now, imagine if he was playing in a modern game. I mean, Harry Kane's played 100-odd games now, hasn't he?
Yeah. So if he says if they get to the qualifiers for the next Euros and they do so without him, and just before the tournament he declares I'm available, then that's a tricky situation.
Well, not really, because if the goalkeeper's done a wonderful job, you wouldn't replace him, would you? If the goalkeeper's, if you've got there in spite of the goalkeeper, then you might.
A goalkeeper of this calibre.
Well, we'll see what he decides. But what we do know, or I think what I do know about you, Simon, is you think Sunday's going to be a France-England final.
Yeah, I do.
If that's the case, Sir Keir Starmer plans to travel to the US to watch England if they make it to the World Cup final. In what would be his final trip, of course, as Prime Minister. He would travel to New Jersey for the match on Sunday, hours before tendering his resignation to the King, apparently. Starmer would come back, make his final speech on the steps of Downing Street the following morning before travelling to Buckingham Palace to meet the King and recommend that Andy Burnham forms the next government. Is Keir Starmer entitled to... I mean, many people would look at that and think, well, that's a bit of a jolly, isn't it? Is he entitled to one last jolly?
He's the Prime Minister of the time. I mean, I'm no interest whatsoever in politicians being at a football match. I think he's a weak leader that doesn't believe in very much, and he goes out of office 2 years in having done a particularly poor job. But he is the Prime Minister of the country, and with it goes certain privileges and certain prerogatives. And if he has no sort of sense of awareness of the fact that he's been hoisted out the door, the country is against him, his party is against him, but he's going to go over and represent us in a football tournament.
In the final hours of him being PM.
Are you suggesting then that he's held over this handover until such times as the World Cup?
No. The schedule was set there already before. The schedule was already set with the
What does it look like to you, Martin? I mean, taxpayers' money, presumably.
Well, hold on a minute. All the pomp and ceremony are all there from all the other countries, aren't they? So why can't our Prime Minister be there? He'd
be in the final hours of being Prime Minister.
Yeah, but we still lead that
the following morning.
representation.
As soon as he touches down his way back, he's heading to Buckingham Palace to say, that's it for me then.
I don't have a problem with him doing it. You might, but I'm not making a political statement in any way, shape or form, but I don't have a problem with it. If that's to be the last thing he does, then okay, we move to the future.
There'll be an irony if England were to win the World Cup, that he was the Prime Minister at the time of England winning a World Cup because it would be considered to be a great national success, and he has been a great national failure.
But he won't be on that day, will he?
But as you say, Simon, that says maybe he wouldn't waste the photo opportunity, would he?
No, that's what I mean. I can't say that I have any interest in any prime minister of any persuasion being there. I'm only really interested in the players and the manager.
Should they be there at all?
But that's what it's become now. It's become a landscape for opportunity. Should Donald Trump have phoned FIFA? We all know the answers to these questions, but it's now part and parcel of it. There'll be quickly. I mean, on one hand, we'll say that we don't like it. On the next hand, we'll all be suggesting that these players should be given gongs, and part of that will be the Prime Minister putting forward people of that nature to be given gongs. So we can't have it both ways.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't. What's the alternative? Send Andy Burnham there. No, thank you.
If England are there, Starmer will be there. If they're not, someone will be sitting in his seat. We're coming up to 3 o'clock and we're live on talkSPORT.
British sensation Arthur Ferry shocked the world, becoming just the second ever wildcard to make a Wimbledon semi-final. He is with us now live in the studio. Good morning to you, Arthur.
Good morning, mate.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming in.
Amazing.
How's life, mate? How's it all going?
It's been good. It's been busy, that's for sure, past few days. But yeah, it's going to be nice to have a bit of time off and just relax, process everything.
I was going to ask you straight away, what have you learnt from your experience at Wimbledon? Because like I spoke to you before we come on, I was watching the Dimitrov win. And honestly, mate, the tennis that you was playing is unbelievable. Everyone talking about it. Everyone that's English so proud of you. But what were your experiences and what have you learnt from your time at Wimbledon?
Yeah, it was the first time that I, caught the general public's eye, and I was playing in front of a lot of people. So, getting used to that was good. I had 2 weeks and six matches to kind of get used to it progressively. So, yeah, that was good, and going to use that experience to moving forward as well.
What was it like after every round you're getting past, and then you could hear people saying, "I'm not sure we can get past that, wild card. I'm not sure we can beat him. I'm sure we beat him." Did you hear those people saying those things? That spur you on a little bit?
Yeah, I was the outsider for most of those matches that I played. But yeah, I was just kept believing in myself. I knew that I could beat those players, and just brought that self-belief on.
Did you feel the pressure, Arthur? Because even here at talkSPORT, you know what we're like. We jump on it, right? And we jump on it hard. Did that outside noise filter through at any point?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, professional sportsmen, there's always some pressure associated to it. But no, just tried to keep the distractions out and just focus on.
Sport.
I'm Dan Fletcher. Good afternoon. We'll hear from Thomas Tuchel in a moment, but first, England have recovered in some fashion after a top-order collapse at Edgbaston. After choosing to bat first, the hosts lost 5 wickets for 19 runs to go 80 for 5. Liam Dawson hit an ODI career-high 68 off 83 balls, while Joe Root was unbeaten on 76 to leave England 258 all out. India, therefore, chasing 259 for victory. We'll have regular updates here on talkSPORT. Next, Thomas Tuchel has played down the historical significance of tomorrow's World Cup semi-final, be it avenging the hand of God or carrying on where they left off after a group stage win back in 2002. The England manager says what went before, on and off the pitch is irrelevant.
I think it's important that we don't tap into history because this has nothing to do with us and it does not help us. We understand that it's a big part of the Argentinian culture and a big part of what fuels them, and it's so fair enough, but it's nothing that helps us.
Skipper Harry Kane, in the meantime, cannot wait.
World Cup semi-final playing against Argentina, the reigning world champions. It doesn't get any bigger. So when you had dreams as a kid growing up or playing in a World Cup, playing in big games, this is exactly what you dreamed about, and yeah, why not be excited for it?
England Argentina is live on talkSPORT tomorrow night. Tonight, it's the first semi between France and Spain. World Cup winner Emmanuel Petit has told talkSPORT, despite his dazzling numbers, Kylian Mbappe still needs to prove the sceptics wrong.
He has something to prove, especially against Spain. Don't forget that the first 2 seasons with Madrid was he scored so many goals, but they haven't won anything at all. And the pressure and the critics have been on the Mbappe's shoulders. So he has something to prove tonight, especially against Spain.
Build up to our live commentary gets underway at 7 on talkSPORT, and some transfer news in brief. Wales goalkeeper Carl Darlow's gone to Old Trafford on a free. Yuri Tielemans won't be far behind him with a medical done and a 5-year contract agreed. And Brighton have agreed a club record £50 million deal for Luka Vuskovic. There's more at talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
The COVID inquiries found no evidence of corruption when it came to dishing out PPE contracts, and Scott Mills was the highest paid presenter at the BBC before he was sacked. Amelia's back at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. This summer, treat yourself to Bridgestone Turanza All-Season 6 tyres with a 25,000 mileage guarantee. Book today at quickfit.com. Conditions apply.
Warm sunshine for most of us this afternoon, with any remaining cloud expected to clear.
Ready?
Good afternoon, everybody. 3 minutes past 3, and we are live in talkSPORT. It's Jim White, Simon Jordan, Arsenal Invincible, Martin Keown. And we are live looking ahead to the 2 World Cup semi-finals, of course. Tonight, the French going against Spain, live in talkSPORT. Tomorrow night, England, Argentina, live on talkSPORT. Alex Crook joined us a short time ago. If you missed it, Leandro Trossard's on his way out of Arsenal and he is heading to Besiktas in Turkey. A whole bunch of movement happening at the moment. A whole bunch of movement in the football world has happened. And we know that Arne Slot left Liverpool, and incoming Andoni Iraola. Iraola has been talking... Never buy teeth from a catalogue.
Get it out.
Iraola has been talking to the media who gathered at Melwood, and of course, some weeks yet before the Premier League gets underway. Won't be that long, I can tell you that. But Iraola has been talking, and the watchword is connect. Have a listen.
I would like to give them a team that they can feel proud of. I think football, and especially Liverpool, for me, is about connecting with the people, connecting with our supporters. I've been in the other side at Anfield. I've experienced, I always say, the goal that Kiesa scored in the first game of the past season, where you can feel the stadium. And I would love to have this every game we play. I understand this is a massive club. Everything that I'm gonna say now, it's gonna go to big scrutiny. You have to be very aware of the mistakes, but I wouldn't like also to be too careful. You know, I would like to act quite normal. We were talking to Tony now. I'm not gonna live in my bubble, just training ground, home. I would like also to go to the city, experience the city. I know some places I will have to take some pictures, so I will have to, but it's part also of the magic, no, of being the Liverpool manager, and I would like not to change too much.
Okay, and he knows that everything he says comes under the microscope, and that conversation that he had with the media is no exception. I would like to give them a team, the fans, Simon, that they can feel proud of. Were they proud with the team under Slot? And also, I want Liverpool, it's all about connecting. What does that look like, do you think, this connecting?
It looks like Jurgen Klopp. That's what it looks like. Jurgen Klopp found a connection, found an ability where he also operated at a high tempo himself. You know, he started his first press conference by saying, "I'm the normal one," didn't he? And then he flashes those, you know, $100,000 ivories and talks in a way that inspires people. And then he puts a team out on the field that puts the hair on the back of your neck up, because it did that Liverpool side at times. I remember a European game against Roma where it was just a game of football that you couldn't take your eyes off because it was exhilarating. And that's what Liverpool players and fans wanted to see. And you didn't see that with Slot. You saw a sanitised version last year. You saw a disappointing version for the Liverpool fans. That, you know, that I didn't quite hear the dissent, although I'm being told repeatedly that there was dissent, even though when they won the Premier League there was rumblings that they weren't quite happy. I don't know if that's right or not, because he appeared to have made the perfect entrance, because following Klopp looked like an absolute fool's errand.
Yeah.
Because it was almost like following Alex Ferguson, and yet he picked up a squad of players that disappointed at the back end of Klopp's tenure, didn't deliver on the emotional expectation that people expected to hand Klopp off with a wonderful salvo of trophies, and they didn't. And then people started questioning the dressing room. Is the dressing room as good as we think it is, given the way they handed Klopp off?
I mean,
they came back.
Klopp? Well, only Klopp is Klopp, if you know what I mean.
But he's done
possible.
Ariola's done his homework, hasn't he? Because if you look at the two great leaders of this football club, well, Dalglish was another one, obviously, but I'm going to refer to Shankly and to Klopp. Like, Shankly talks about how it was a privilege to play for these supporters and for these people. Okay, so that was always a tremendous link there.
It was,
Klopp,
yeah.
I think, followed that beautifully.
Yeah,
but Shankly dragged the club out of the second division.
Yeah.
And built the club alongside this wonderful fan base. And he used to say to his players, you saw him on the balcony saying, "I tell these players what a privilege it is to play for you." But then you look at the succession programme of Liverpool, because Bob Paisley was a very understated manager. Yet he carried on winning things. He's the most successful ever Liverpool manager, isn't he? Paisley. Yeah. And then you move into the Fagans and the Morans of the world, and then the Roy Evans of the world, different period. But then what's happening with Liverpool is they've got real rivalry coming into football. You know, there's the arrival of Chelsea and the Man Cities of the world and so on and so forth. So it hasn't just been Liverpool and Arsenal and Manchester United.
But you represent the people, and that connection, he's talking about connection, is really important. So the first press conference, he has to get in there and he has to talk about that connection.
That's a good point, though, Martin. What wins those people over more? Outcomes or performances?
Well, being remembered, first of all, in the first press conference, and they're understanding the part that they play. It's a unique atmosphere. I mean, it's a cathedral of noise when you play at Anfield. It's a wonderful place to play. It become a little bit tetchy at Liverpool at the end. They generally always support their team, but they weren't getting enough.
But surely, I mean, that's great.
Their team and their
that's
manager.
part of it, and it gives you that extra bit of latitude.
It's an important step, though.
But winning, okay, they stick Derek Hatton in the dugout. You know, it's just not because you can relate to them. It's because you can win football matches with aplomb.
You can't artificially do it. You have to really feel it.
Well,
okay,
it is artificial. It is artificial.
I think it's a good first step for him understanding the fans.
Slot was winning, but that wasn't enough.
No, well, he wasn't winning last year.
No.
And they were poor last year.
He won the first year. He won the title.
And so the dissent wasn't there. And so people were fine. And the following of Klopp became almost, well, what was the big deal? He's followed him on. He's not only followed him on, he's emulated him. He's won the Premier League in his first opportunity.
Yeah, but there was an energy. There's an energy about Liverpool. And
that's the point.
You find that. The right manager finds that.
So you can't confect.
Comes from the terraces.
I mean, Klopp provides a certain attitude and outlook, but he wasn't from Liverpool. He just related and he created an energy and a belief, and he led people. And so this guy will probably do something similar in his own way. But at the end of the day, he can be the most relatable, liked, visible Liverpool manager. If his team doesn't smash it on the field, they'll not have him.
Yeah, but they will, because this manager will press high and he'll go after teams. I mean, what you've seen the last two seasons, they're always high up, Jim, for the number of fouls committed, right? And you look at him as a manager and you think, smiling face. I kind of called him the silent assassin, really, the smiling assassin, because his teams do not reflect his personality, because he looks like a really nice guy, but his teams, you look how aggressive they are. Now, if you times that by 10 when you go to Anfield and you play for those fans,
right,
this could be a really good marriage.
It's his playing style, though, Martin. So, from what you're saying, is it going to more Klopp than Slot?
Oh, definitely. They definitely press high, and they create that energy, and it will feed to the fan because they want to see that energy.
The beauty of managing Bournemouth is you have an underdog mentality. So you come out of it in a situation where you're playing in front of 10,000 fans at the Vitality, with an underdog mentality where Bournemouth, however way you cut it and slice it, you dice it, every time Bournemouth do well, it will be little Bournemouth doing well.
Such for the finish of their season.
In this instance,
20 games.
In this instance, it is demanded of Liverpool
Right.
that he is on the front foot.
Right.
It is demanded of Liverpool and expected that Liverpool are the dominant force in every game.
Yeah.
And we'll see, because there's no guarantee. I would be on Martin's cap and I wager that he will be successful. There's no guarantee that you translate from Bournemouth to Liverpool and it's a straight line.
Right.
Because atypically, when you go to manage a big football club, and Liverpool have broken the model a few times when they brought Brendan Rodgers in, normally it's because you bring in a winner. Klopp was a winner.
Yeah.
He had won things.
Yeah.
This guy hasn't won anything.
Okay.
What he's won is the hearts and minds of Bournemouth fans.
So Iraola's getting used to his new surroundings. So too is one Jose Mourinho. Well, they're not really new surroundings. He's been there before. Real Madrid's pre-season officially began yesterday. Mourinho took charge of training for the first time since his reappointment, if you like. Now, of course, it all comes amidst a new Netflix documentary set to be released next month about him. 3-episode biopic titled Mourinho was filmed over a period of 2 years. Here's a teaser of it.
Welcome to my little box. This is my history. I have things in here that mean a lot. I have Maradona boots dedicated to me. This is Diego. This is Cristiano Ronaldo in his first season as a professional in sporting. This is for me to realize that I'm 60, or I was. What's that?
The bottom line.
In here. Is me. You know, some guy did this awful Jose. No, it's not bad. It's not bad. I started winning in 2003, and my last title was 2022. So it was 20 years winning. That's why you want to tell my story. You know, you don't do a documentary with a guy that win nothing. No, it's not like I come here and I sing. Fun for me.
I just love that you're saying that whilst there's a mural of yourself behind you.
There's Josie in his little den with all his trophies. He's back for a second spell in charge at the Bernabeu, 13 years after his first period ended. Simon, if he conquers Real Madrid again, this has got to go down as his greatest managerial achievement.
Well, especially given the direction of travel of his career, most of us would have said, despite the fact I am a Mourinho admirer, I think you have reservations about him primarily because of his conduct in certain instances. I've always been a Mourinho admirer, I think, but his direction of travel from Tottenham to Roma to Fenerbahce to Benfica wasn't exactly upward, was it? So then to land yourself in arguably the biggest job in world football is a remarkable rise back to the ascent. Probably one of the two reasons why he's there was to try and get the synergy between Mbappe and Bellingham to work, because that's one of the suggested rumours that dressing room isn't working very well with those two characters. Neither one of them are there right now.
Yeah.
But it'll be a fact. I wouldn't put it past him. I mean, the Barcelona side that won the league last year, I don't think is a vintage Barcelona side. Madrid will not sit there for 3 seasons and not win anything.
No.
And so his timing might just be perfect. And Florentino Perez has put his presidency into position around the fact that his manifesto, even though he knew he was going to win, was seeded in the fact that Mourinho was coming back.
He's a man. It's an emergency call. I mean, 2 seasons.
He has got 26 major trophies to his name, and it is intriguing to can he kind of find the magic again? But maybe he's past his best, and he's going to have to prove he isn't. But he's got, look at what you're just talking about Bellingham and you're talking about Mbappe, 2 of the best players who are performing in the World Cup. Surely you can get a tune out of those 2. Surely, no? The 10 and the 9, that should be a great partnership. So to not win the league for 2 seasons is a disaster for Real Madrid, and they've been awful in the Champions League as well the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
I expect he's only going to improve, isn't he? And who would bet? I mean, it'd be intriguing to see if he can pull it off.
Okay, of course, all fans of Jose Mourinho, and there are many, will love that. Mourinho, a 3-episode biopic to be released on Netflix. We're live in talkSPORT with Tool Station. First stop, Tool Station.
But after a game, positivity, and you throw that negative comment about what a manager says, but you haven't told Bellingham everything positive that the manager said.
Sorry, just being on the other side of that, right?
Yeah.
So you're a player, you've come off the pitch and maybe had negativity after a win, but that is his job.
Yeah.
That's him. That's the guy, the fella doing his job, Adrian Clark.
But is that a problem in the media then?
But it's not. It's just your manager's just said this. What do you make about that, Jude?
Yeah, but I still think like that might be his job, but then like when people moan, and there's been a lot of moaning on social media by a lot of the public, we've just got through to a semi-final. We should be positive, and people are creating a beef between our best player.
No.
manager.
Tuchel created the beef.
No,
he put it out there
but
first.
Tuchel's not called out any player. He said what he thought about the game, which was honest. No problem. I totally agree with what he says. We can be a lot better. But when a player finishes a game, he's exhausted. He's done 110 minutes in that heat. He's shattered. He's carried his team through. He scored 2 goals. The last thing he wants to hear for the first question is, the manager said that's not good enough. Why do you say, like, okay, Jude Bellingham, what was that feeling like? Look at the fans behind you. How positive? Why can't we be positive in the media?
Because you can see that. You can quite clearly see there's a lot of positivity around you, Gabby.
What do you mean? Yeah, but that's the first question you want to ask your man. You don't want to be asked a negative question when
you're trying to win the World Cup.
Exactly.
Not just get to a semi-final.
No one said you're not trying
you've got through the quarterfinals. It wasn't your best performance.
Yeah.
It's nothing to get really overly excited about.
I think it is. I think it 100% is, because this World Cup, France are the only team that have been outstanding. Argentina, like I said, we've got through every round being poor. Then after the game, being in their media, we got to do. That's a conversation for another day. I just think we look for problems. There shouldn't be any problem. Shouldn't be any big talk today about, there's beef. They don't get on. When I watch him on the pitch, he looks like he's listening to his manager. I don't see a beef there.
Hello, I'm Matt Forden from talkSPORT. This is How to Win the World Cup.
This is the best squad I think England have ever had.
He used to love America, now he doesn't. It's very sad.
It was so important to succeed because of all the pressure we received.
Don't jump for this one, I'm going to knock his head off.
Warning, this podcast does not guarantee England will actually win anything.
Boxing update on talkSPORT with DAZN, the global home of boxing. Sign up now at dazn.com/boxing.
Yep, and on the subject of boxing, a massive run of DAZN's Saturday fight nights coming up. This Saturday, Harlem Eubank takes on David Papert live from the Copper Box in London. And then next week is Danger Before Destiny. Anthony Joshua makes his comeback against Christian Prenga, an Albanian knockout machine with an incredible record of 20 knockouts from 20 wins. Join DAZN Ultimate. Get access to 185 plus fight nights and 12 plus pay-per-view events every year, including Anthony Joshua versus Prenga, July 25th. All included at no extra cost. Let's stay on the subject of boxing, because we noted with interest that Zuffa have acquired themselves another fighter, and he is British heavyweight boxer Johnny Fisher. And in actual fact, Simon, if you cast your mind back a few days, we were in New York. Eddie Hearn joined us, and he spoke about Johnny Fisher signing for Zuffa from Matchroom.
See, the issue is the fight, right? So Johnny Fisher, rightfully so, by the way, because he's had a defeat and he's, you know, wants to have opposition that I would be competitive with. Like I'm talking about, and because he wants low-level fights to get in a bit of a swing, 2-3 fights like that. For me, I can't deliver that product for DAZN because you'd laugh it out of town. If I headlined a show for Johnny Fisher against the guys he's going to be fighting, I would be ridiculed. Yeah. But where you come into the marketplace, and the offer that they made to him was 6.5 times more than I would be prepared to pay for a fight that he will be in. Because the fight that he is in is not good enough for my product, for DAZN's product, to put bums on seats, to make people engage. For Johnny, it's amazing, and I'm so happy for him because it's a fight that can go and pay a mortgage.
So, Johnny goes to Zuffa and by all accounts is in the money. He'll headline at the Copper Box Arena in London on September the 26th. That is then, right now, he joins us live in the show. Johnny, good afternoon to you. How and when did Zuffa come about?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me on. Zuffa came about within the last couple of months, really. I was meant to fight Jamie TKV for the British title. That fell through with the promoters, Shalom and Eddie Hearn, not being able to agree on a venue or who's going to host it. Then it was going to be on the Fury Makhmudov card. I then went to Eddie and said, look, they've offered this, but it didn't work out for whatever reason. Then my contract was expiring. I went and met with Eddie and said, look, I'm going to be in the position where I'm going to be offered. I'm going to listen to the offers of other people. So this offer came in, and then I spoke to Eddie throughout the whole thing, and this was a better offer financially and a better offer promotionally with the backing of Sky Sports, and it's good to be in this position now.
Well done you. I mean, is there a plan to this in terms of a pathway, or is it a one-fight deal?
It's a one-fight deal. There's no opponent been announced yet or even spoken about yet. So it's hard to fathom what Eddie has said there because I don't have an opponent, so I can't talk about who it is or what it's going to be or compare it to anyone else. I'm imagining it's going to be, because at the time Eddie was trying to make a fight for me on the AJ undercard. It will be someone of that sort of level. We was talking about guys who are 20 wins, 1 loss, or 16 wins, 1 loss, that sort of level, which is probably about what level I'm at, to be honest. I mean, if Joshua's fighting Prenga, who's someone who's obviously a good fighter, 20 wins, 20 knockouts, but an unknown in that sense. The guy that I'm going to get, I reckon, is going to be someone of an unknown who's probably there or thereabouts or a little bit less of that level, because obviously I'm not at the level of Anthony Joshua.
So why is Eddie saying what he said, Johnny? Is it just because you're getting caught in the crossfire going on between Dana White and Eddie Hearn? Is that what you think Eddie's point is there?
I think perhaps, yeah, there's obviously now sort of 2 new blocks of power emerging with DAZN and all the promoters on there, and Zuffa are obviously making headlines and waves in the game, but there's obviously a little bit of politics between them two going on. But I can only speak from what I know, and what I know is I haven't got an opponent as of yet.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, I suppose those in the fight game might look at you, Johnny, and say, well, where's Johnny's loyalty here to Matchroom? Would they be right thinking that?
Loyalty to Matchroom, I mean, I spoke to Eddie throughout this process. I spoke to Barry on Friday night, actually, as well. Gave him a call because we had a charity cricket game on Sunday. I've invited him over. Me and Barry are on terrific terms, and me and Eddie are good friends. And there's an idea of loyalty in this game, and the loyalty should be to your own word and your own talk and how you speak to people and how you deal with people. There's no loyalty to say to another promoter or someone else putting on a show. Your loyalty has to be the way that you conduct yourself and loyalty to your own word. And that's what I owe to people. And I think I've given that to Eddie and Barry. And Barry obviously respects that because we spoke very well with each other on Friday.
What's your impressions of Zuffa? I mean, we hear a lot of noise, and with all due respect, Johnny, take this at face value. They've talked about signing the biggest fighters in the world. They haven't done that. And there's a lot of noise about what they're going to do, and obviously about the unification of UBOs being one belt for one champion, and all the repeals of the Muhammad Ali Act. And I know you won't want to get into that sort of conversation, but what is your first impressions of signing for Zuffa in terms of comparing them to Matchroom and how that Matchroom operate?
Well, as you said, Simon, I'm obviously not the best boxer in the world. I'm not Alexander Usyk. I'm not Anthony Joshua. I'm not any of them guys. But what I am is someone who brings eyes to the sport, who can fill up arenas. So they're ticking that box quite well in that sense. In the south of England, they'll be able to get people out and get fighters out. In terms of comparing them to Matchroom, I can't have any bad words to say about Matchroom and Barry Hearn. They pay on time. They always look you in the eye and tell you an honest answer. And so far, my experiences with Zuffa have been second to none in the way that they've handled it. And they've really pushed me in a promotional sense, even in this last day of announcing the fight, put me on Sky Sports. And that's a big pull for me. I'm a massive fan of all sports, cricket, rugby, boxing, of course. So to be with Sky Sports in that sense, I'm very excited about where I'm going to go with these guys.
I think a lot of people looking at this from the outside, Johnny, will think, well, Johnny Fisher deserves this. He's a good guy. He's a decent fighter. He's an honest fighter. And if, as we hear, you're getting so many times per fight what you were getting previous at Matchroom, you could hardly say no, Johnny, could you?
Well, this is the conversation that me and Eddie had, and Barry sort of confirmed that all with me. Like, you've got to take that offer. Obviously, listen, we're professional boxers. Every time you fight, you risk your life, you risk your health. And I've got to take these opportunities with both hands. But I'm also excited about the future for me because of this platform that I'm on. And now being with Tony Sims, having one fight under my belt with him, I'm excited to show people what I can do. I'm excited to show them that Johnny Fisher, the Romford Bull, is someone who can compete at British level, who can go on a little run and enjoy that. And not everyone's going to be a world champion. Not everyone's going to be an undisputed. We're not all going to be Alexander Usyk. But what we can be is people that give people value for money when they come and watch me fight. And one thing for sure is you're going to be entertained at the Copper Bosch on September the 26th.
What are you aiming for, Johnny, in your mind? What are you trying to achieve? I mean, obviously, you want to be successful, you want to be the best version of yourself, and you want to get rewarded for it. Nothing wrong with that, any of that whatsoever. But, you know, you've had the fight with Dave Allen. The first fight you won, which people debated, and the second fight you lost. Now people are looking at things slightly differently. There was a huge thought process about opportunities for you. Are you looking to try and get a British title?
Yeah.
Is that where your direction of travel is? Is that what you're going to try and achieve?
Yeah, so we had the first fight with Dave, as you said, could have easily gone the other way, was one that could have been a draw. It went my way. And we had the rematch went wrong. But in that whole process, I never got above my station anyway. People were talking about me being this, going to fight Ituma and all that, but I never lost sight of who I was and where I was. In terms of the British title, of course, that is something that is deep in my heart, and many boxing fans will know how much weight that holds. I know there's a caveat to that, being with Zuffa, that they're trying to do away with other belts.
That's what I was going to ask.
They want to get rid of the other organisations. I knew that was coming, but I'm on a one-fight deal, and this is a great deal for me. This is a great fight for me, but they'll always be in my heart, and I won't have no problem with saying that I want to win the British title at some point in my career, and there's no problem with that. Right now, in my stage of my career, that's not something that's on the radar in the immediate future. What's on the immediate future is getting a good win. I haven't won in England since 2024 because of the fights I've had in Monte Carlo, boxed in Saudi Arabia. I want to get back to winning ways in England.
Good, Johnny. We'll look forward to it in September the 26th. Before you leave us, your dad, John, was on morning TV yesterday. He sparked a bit of a debate, Johnny, claiming any bank holiday given for England winning the World Cup should not include Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland.
Good lad.
Yeah. Do you ignore Simon? Do you agree with Dad on this?
My question to you, Jim, is do you agree?
You've turned it. Listen, we would love a bank holiday off
Would
the
you
back
want
of
to
England
celebrate
winning
a bank holiday with England winning the World Cup?
We'd take a bank holiday.
Well said, Johnny.
Absolutely.
Oh, you'd take it, would you?
So was Dad right on it, Johnny?
No shame.
I think he's absolutely right. The same as if Scotland won the World Cup, I would think that's a Scottish holiday. But the difference is, I think a lot of English people, if Scotland got to the final of a World Cup, or Ireland or Wales, I'd be bang behind them because I'm a British. I believe in Great Britain. I also have a lot of affection for my Irish friends and supporters. So I think I'd be grateful for them, and I'd be happy to work on a Monday, getting punched in the face, sparring or something while I enjoy a bank holiday.
Well done, John.
Well done, Johnny. Thank you very much indeed.
Tell Jim how to behave.
Yes, there you go. Johnny Fisher. As we said in that chat, Simon, he couldn't say no to the Zuffa deal.
He's a very nice lad, Johnny Fisher, a very honest fighter. You know, he is right to turn around and say that when all the furore was going on about when he beat Dave Allen and people were starting to elevate in his name, he never lost sight of it. Other people did.
Yeah.
And of course, there's no reason for him. His contractual position with Matchroom is what it is. And Matchroom are happy for him to go and develop his career and make money elsewhere.
Yeah.
And Zuffa are going to give him that opportunity.
Yeah.
It's a fair play to Johnny and good luck to him.
Yeah. And if England win the World Cup, I'll enjoy a bank holiday down here.
Yeah, you would take it, wouldn't you? Yeah.
100%. It's 3:30. Gabriel put it to him. The fans are loving it. You guys are in a semi-final.
But he talked about the manager specifically, and we're criticising or observing or opining on what Jude Bellingham's response to his manager, not what the fans say.
Was Tuchel unhappy with the performance?
Yeah, so he should be.
Yeah, that's what Gabriel put to Jude.
But it also talked...
That's a fair question to put to Jude,
why didn't
isn't
he
it?
put the balance?
But is that not a fair question to put to Bellingham?
At the same time as putting balance in the conversation. If you're trying
We'll agree to disagree on
it's
that.
dishonest. It's absolutely fundamentally
What's dishonest about it?
Because you're not presenting the full picture. You are taking what the manager's worst
Tuchel
things...
said his bit, and Jude said his bit.
But that is why I qualify things by sitting with you and peers, and I'm delighted to say that whilst I'm in the media, I'm not a creation of it. I didn't build my career around the media.
All that again.
Well, it's true.
That again.
It's true.
I've never heard anything like that.
Because you wouldn't, because you're a journalist. Your entire life has been journalism. What you do is you look at it and go,
Morgan
how can we get...
throat about that as well? No, we don't.
but he
And that's
talks
where
crap-
you're wrong.
but he
No
talks
one
crap
in the
as well.
media, when
But
you
he
get
talks
to the
crap as
level
well.
of Gabriel Clark, you're not in a mix zone, or you're not in a post-match situation going, oh, I've got him, I've got him. You do not get it.
I watch you guys.
You do not get
I
it.
watch you do it. I watch you do it. I watch peers do it.
All right,
I watch you all do it. I've been on the receiving
You
end.
think this is a gotcha moment?
Yeah, you
How
guys love
wrong
it.
can you be?
You guys can't get more excited.
And have you never done
And
a
when you
gotcha
see some-
moment?
No, I have a strong... Well, like what?
In your various media
No, when
forums?
I have a robust conversation with somebody about opinions on something,
Even though,
I don't try and
you're
trip
in the
them
media
up.
or part of it or not part of it, or when you're in or
No, I
out
try
of
to make them accountable, or give them a rounded perspective. So if I confront somebody with an argument, it's rounded so they can deal with all aspects of it. Because I want to win the argument on facts, on merit,
So really,
not by
in the media,
creating...
there's nobody else like you.
I don't think so, yeah, absolutely right.
Love it.
Anybody else under Premier League Football Club?
Love it.
No.
No, that's true. And I'll give you that.
There you go.
And that is true, Simon. And
Anyone
I will
else
say
own about
this.
17 businesses?
You are
No. Anyone else own about
absolutely
100
right.
quid?
When it
No,
comes
I can
to
go on.
USA 94. What a summer when football became soccer in the blazing heat. It was also the tournament where fashion peaked. This, my friends, is Alexi Lalas. No, he wasn't Scottish. That's a full-blooded American right there. But in all seriousness, forget the hair. Look at the jersey. Dreamy 90s clobber. And it was everywhere. That's the legend that's Georgi Hagi of Romania, OVS, Brazilian shot stopper, Taffarel, and a Dutch guy. I mean, this was the period we were getting top quality in the Premier League too, but the national team designers raised the level even higher. The pitch was their catwalk as we got Germany, Bolivia, Sweden absolutely rocking it. The kind of kit we're shelling out for on retro sites to this day. And Spain, another beauty. 10 points if you recognise that guy. Of course, this was America, so the cheerleaders didn't want to be outdone. But in the end, two of the less is more designs made it to the final. And when Baggio blazed over, Dunga got the honours. The entire summer was an explosion of colour that would have broken Instagram. Sorry, just trying to get that last one off eBay. 70 quid. Bargain.
First semi-final tonight, live on talkSPORT, France against Spain. 8 o'clock kickoff for that. We're live in talkSPORT with Toolstation. First up, Toolstation. It's Jim White, Simon Jordan, and Arsenal Invincible, Martin Keown. Wonder where the mood is amongst the Spanish football fans going into this. The French think they can get to this final and win it. They've been favourites, have they not? But Spain are going to be formidable opponents. I wonder what the mood is in Spain. Spanish football journalist, broadcaster, Phil Kitramalides joins us live on the show. Phil, always good to speak to you, my friends. So what is the thought here? Do all of Spain think the French? Yeah, we can win this. Of course we can.
Yeah, they're pretty positive, to be honest, Jim. I've been obviously walking around. I'm in Madrid today. Loads and loads of people wearing a Spain shirt, which isn't actually that common in Spain. This is a country that has got a slightly complex relationship with the national team because of various sort of historical, socio-political reasons. Basically, Real Madrid and Barcelona dominate absolutely everything, and that includes how people view the national team as well. But I can tell you that people are really, really getting behind the team tonight, and people are pretty confident because everybody's talking about the last two times that Spain have played France. Spain have beaten France, and 1 year ago in the Nations League semi-final, they absolutely battered them. They were 5-1 up with 11 minutes to go, then they conceded a few goals at the end. It ended 5-4, but if they can reproduce that form tonight, Spain will go through pretty comfortably.
Wow. So there you go, Martin. Spain are going to be formidable opponents for the French, according to Phil.
Yeah, but I just feel interested. What are there any news coming out of what the expected team will be for the Spanish? Any changes? Bayana's played, hasn't he, mostly on the wing?
Yeah.
So, some talk of over here that Nico Williams will play. Should maybe give a bit more thrust for Spain, because if there's anything they lack against France, is maybe they don't look as quite as attractive in the final third.
I definitely go along with that. I think Nico Williams is fit, but I don't think he's going to start. I think he's going to probably keep Alex Baena on the left wing. The only question mark that we've got, sort of Spanish journalists around the starting 11, is in midfield. Is it going to be Pedri? Is it going to be Fabian Ruiz? Because Pedri was actually dropped for the quarterfinal against Belgium. Fabian Ruiz came in and scored, played pretty well as well, but it kind of feels unthinkable to leave Pedri on the bench for a World Cup semi-final. Just remember, this is Spain's second World Cup semi-final ever, which sounds ridiculous when you think about it, but the only other time they reached the last four was in 2010 when they went and won it. So this is a really historic day for Spain, for the Spanish national team. It is one of the biggest games in their history, and it would feel strange to see Pedri sitting on the bench for that. But Luis de la Fuente he's made a few decisions that have surprised us. He played Gavi at left wing in the first game against Cape Verde. He dropped Pedri in the last game. So there have been some decisions that have surprised us, but I think that's the only major question mark in midfield tonight.
Can you put your finger on it, Phil? Since winning it in 2010, group stage, round of 16, why is it clicked all of a sudden under De La Fuente?
I think they've been a bit more pragmatic this time, Jim. You know, they've been getting it done, getting it over the line. You know, against Morocco in the last 16 in Qatar, against Russia in the last 16 in Russia in 2018, they had so much possession, just couldn't find a way through in both of those games. This time, we've seen them, you know, have a lot of possession and at times look a little bit stale with that possession, but they've managed to find ways through. So I think they have been a little bit more pragmatic. Obviously, this team is different to those other teams because in theory you've got Lamine Yamal on one side and Nico Williams on the other, and that offers something very, very different in terms of dynamism and skill and being able to beat your man on the wings, although we haven't really seen that. Nico hasn't really played and Lamine hasn't been at his level, but yeah, I think there's been a level of pragmatism, getting the job done, and ridiculous defensive solidity as well, which always helps.
And I know where your heart lies in this, Phil, because of where you work. Do you feel this will be Spain's moment tonight and they'll get to this final?
I want to, Jim. I want to. I think, you know, given what we've seen in the tournament, that's why France are favourites tonight. Most people are backing France tonight, given what we've seen in the tournament. Spain haven't reached their best in this tournament, not by a long shot. They have still got another gear to go up. If they can do that in this game tonight, I think they can go through against France. But if we're going on what we've seen strictly in the tournament so far, then you would understandably make France favourites. I'm sitting on the fence, aren't I, Jim? I'm not going to give a prediction.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. Your mates in Spain are ready to celebrate, Simon, aren't they?
Yes, I mean, look, I've tipped the French for a variety of reasons. It's an unconscious bias, having lived in Spain for many, many years. Nueva Andalucía is a certain part of Spain that Phil will know is not real Spain in certain people's minds, because it has more holidays than everywhere else in Spain put together. But having endured the Spanish winning it in 2010, and they weren't magnanimous about it, I'm not looking forward to being over there, which I am due to be over there on Friday, for the Spanish to be winning it again. So I am Team France all day, every day.
Right. Phil, in the Euros, their record is absolutely phenomenal, isn't it, Spain? And of course, you're the current holders of that, and you beat England in the final.
The thing is, in the Euros, they beat, they were clearly the best team in that competition. There was no question about it. If you look at the teams that they beat France, they beat Germany, they beat England. It was, they beat Croatia. It was just an incredible run, and there was no question about it. This is the best team in Europe. We haven't seen that.
So the Spanish public, because obviously here in England, we are finding we're in a semi-final, and there's a lot of people saying, "Oh, that we're not good enough, we're not playing well enough." Is it the same story in Spain? Surely not. You're dominating games. Every game I've watched now, you've addressed scoring goals. You're coming into form, no?
Yeah, I think that's the feeling, Martin. Spain are coming into form now. They haven't been at their best in this tournament, but it feels like they've got better almost in every round. We've seen them, crank up a gear. We've seen different aspects of play from different players in each round. And now it's time. Listen, I can tell you, certainly people are a lot more positive in Spain about the national team than they are, I think, in England about how the national team have done. And they're pretty confident. Yeah.
Can I ask you a sort of ask about face question, but see if you can work your way through it, Phil? Who would England do better against, do you think, if they were to get to the final? Would it be better for England to be playing the Spanish or the French, in your view?
It's a good question, isn't it?
He doesn't really care.
Listen, if England are in a final, I wouldn't mind them winning it.
Indeed.
I think England would be the outsiders against either Spain or France. I think that's fair enough. I think maybe they'd probably do better against Spain. I think they'd probably do better against Spain if they try and frustrate Spain, defend and then break. That could work better than coming up against a French side with so much individual talent in the final third. But obviously we're getting way ahead of ourselves here. But yeah, I would say probably marginally, and certainly my mates on WhatsApp texting me saying, we want Spain to go through because we think England have got a better chance against Spain. Yeah.
Phil, I'll get further ahead of ourselves before you leave us. After this is all over, Bellingham and Mbappe will head back to Real Madrid. What are they heading back to with Mourinho in place?
He had his first day of training yesterday. Jose Mourinho back in charge of Real Madrid after 13 years since he left. Listen, they're coming off the back of a terrific World Cup. Whatever happens now, Jude Bellingham and Kylian Mbappe have shown the world what they are capable of after very, very sort of modest seasons with Real Madrid. I know Mbappe scored a lot of goals, but individually he wasn't brilliant for Real Madrid. And this is the big job that Jose Mourinho's got to find a way of doing, because loads of coaches haven't been able to do it. Xabi Alonso, Carlo Ancelotti, Alvaro Arbeloa couldn't find a way to make Mbappe, Vini Jr. and Jude Bellingham all play in this Real Madrid side and get the best out of those three. That is a massive, massive job for Jose Mourinho. If he can do that, well, we've seen what those three players can do. They're absolutely unstoppable. So it's a big job for Jose Mourinho. It's going to be fascinating to see what he can do.
Brilliant. Phil, always good to hear from you, mate. Thank you for joining us today. Phil Kitramalides, Spanish football journalist, top man and Spanish broadcaster, telling us about what he expects out of France-Spain tonight. Stay with us as we head towards 4 o'clock.
Do you think that you're more confident about tomorrow beating Argentina than you were against beating Croatia?
100%, yeah.
Why?
Because that was early on. in that group of players with Gareth Southgate. It was early on, and Croatia had some side back then. You know, Croatia were probably favourites in that game. They were that good of a team. But I think when you go forward, 8 years, and you look at where we are now as a squad of players, the experience they've got in tournaments, how they've got to finals and semi-finals, I think this game we should win more than Croatia game. I've got honestly total faith. If I was going to go to the final, I would have bought my tickets now. That's how confident I am that we beat Argentina.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's look at how they play. I look at their weaknesses. I look at how we can get in and around Messi. You know, we've got players that have played against Alvarez before in the Premier League when it was at Manchester City. We know their team of players, and I'm sure with this manager, how pumped he is, how maybe not negative, but how honest he was about how he didn't play good enough against Norway. Previous England managers after the game would have been like, I'm so proud of these players. It wasn't the best of performances, but whoopie-doo. Do you know what I mean? They'd be so positive, but he was negative in the right way. I'm like, come on, we're better than this.
We can do
I
it.
didn't like the phases of play. I didn't like how certain players played. He's honest because he knows to beat Argentina, you've got to be better, play with the best football you played in the tournament. And then if you play France or Spain, you have to, everyone's got to be on it.
Mm-hmm.
You only beat those two teams if every player has the game of their lives, not just Kane and Bellingham, not Anderson and Konsa as well. Needs to be everybody to win a World Cup, I think.
6:10 on Tuesday morning, Gabby Agbon-Lahore is confident that you'll get to a final and you will beat Argentina.
We're England,
tomorrow
aren't we?
night.
We are England,
live
aren't we?
on talkSPORT.
We created football, Jimon.
Did you?
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Matt Forden from talkSPORT. This is How to Win the World Cup.
This is the best squad I think England have ever had.
He used to love America, now he doesn't. It's very sad.
It was so important to succeed because of all the pressure we received.
Don't jump for this one, I'm going to knock his head off.
Warning, this podcast does not guarantee England will actually win anything.
Football form roundup on talkSPORT with Sky Bet. The world's gone football. Get in on it with Sky Bet. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
England face old rivals Argentina with a place in Sunday's World Cup final at stake tomorrow. So we asked you, the listeners, will we see the best version of England, or have we already seen peak England?
And it just don't matter now, little by little.
On the front foot here, Gordon, that's better. Bellingham taking it on. Bellingham, yes, 1-1. England out of nothing, back on level terms before half-time.
I have a sneaky feeling that Tuchel's got some kind of sneaky little bag to play, and I think he might be just holding back.
Jude Bellingham is just sublime, isn't he?
He's out of this world, isn't he?
Morgan Rogers coming onto it, right footing, good try, spilled by the goalkeeper, and bundled in. England lead, it is Jude Bellingham again.
I've got a feeling that we're just going to really go at it, and I think there's enough players in that team that have really shown signs of real quality.
Right now, England have got definitely some of the best players in the world, and they've definitely got the ability to win the World Cup, no doubt about it. But they haven't been able to really show everything, yeah?
The Norwegian players think to their knees they did not deserve to lose this. Sometimes you don't get what you deserve. England didn't tonight, and nobody is complaining. And it just don't matter.
Well, it's live on talkSPORT. England, Argentina tomorrow night, and that was thanks to Sky Bet. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Football Form Roundup on talkSPORT with Sky Bet. Download the Sky Bet app and get in on it with Sky Bet. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Let's head to the ODI at Edgbaston, England, up against India. John, what have you got?
Well, this is a blockbuster encounter. Earlier today, we had Joe Root taking on Jasprit Bumrah, and we've just seen Virat Kohli against Jofra Archer, and it's Archer who has struck. But Kohli new to the crease after another Galactico. Rohit Sharma was caught at mid-off. Palpably LBW. He didn't even bother reviewing this one before turning back and walking back to the pavilion. So 2 early breakthroughs for England. That's what they need after being bowled out for 258. In reply, India in the 9th over, 48 for 2.
John, thank you very much indeed. Simon Martin, they always say live and let live. That's about right, isn't it? But in football, how long should you hold a grudge? I'm talking about Roy Keane, Alpha Inga Haaland. We know what happened with these two. They've been great rivals since 1997. Keane tore his anterior cruciate ligament trying to tackle Haaland while playing for United against Leeds. After the Norway-England game, Haaland's father, Alpha Inga, said, saved by the referee, hope England win the World Cup now, but I feel we got robbed today. And then he wrote in another response, well done, Bellingham and the referee. Roy Keane responded apparently to Haaland Senior's comments by saying, would you remember the game? Because obviously he's been drinking alcohol at the matches. The dad, I'm saying. He's having a drink. You're seeing the game differently. After Keane's comments were shared on social media, Haaland responded to one post saying, once a naughty word, always a naughty word directed at Keane. And that comment was later deleted. I mean, that grudge goes on and on, doesn't it?
It depends if you think that Roy had no right to say what he said about Alfie Inga Haaland and his assessment of the game. I mean, I think Norway were at times the better team in the game. But Roy is entitled to an opinion on what the fella said.
Yeah.
And if anything, it is potentially Haaland's dad that's carrying on the grudge by making it personal.
Yeah, seems to be, actually, seems to be. And then talking of grudges, and I'm coming to you, Martin, but on World Cup Uncensored, the Piers Morgan show that Simon is on now and again, Mick McCarthy joined Simon and Piers, decided to take Piers Morgan on regarding an incident way back in 2009, when as Wolves manager, he rested a number of players for a trip to Old Trafford.
I've always respected you hugely, genuinely, as a manager.
Except when I dropped 10 players at Wolverhampton.
Yeah, well, that was terrible.
You did say something that I was particularly unhappy about.
I thought it was shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go on. What was your problem with what I said? You must have known I was right.
You're never right, mate. You just antagonise people with your comments, which you're doing on this show quite clearly.
No.
So when you said it, my job is to win games.
Yes.
We went to Spurs the Saturday before. We won 1-0 with about 35% possession. We got Manchester United on the Tuesday. I went there and I dropped 10 players. I have a squad of 22. If I'm a manager, it's my right to manage that team how I see and get results.
And it's my right as an Arsenal fan who you were directly impacting with your cowardice
because you weren't good enough
you out on it.
Because you weren't good enough to win the title, and that Sir Alex won it again, and he won it. You weren't good enough, so you blame me, which is real bad on my part.
I know what Roy Keane's problem was.
No,
just to be clear, by dropping 10 players, you let United walk all over you, which had a direct impact on my team's chances of winning the league. I thought that was an appalling abrogation of your duty as a manager to entertain the fans with the best available team.
Clear you up. My duty was to beat Burnley on the Saturday, and we did.
Well, Mick hasn't forgotten, has he? That's for sure.
Oh, no, he went further than that. He said that Piers was a purveyor of the wrist action. Went into that sort of territory, which I was inclined to agree with. Yeah. But also, to be fair, Piers did say to him and did have him. So let me ask this, right? So if it had been the other way around, right, and Arsenal had taken all their players and rested them in a game, and that had adversely affected Wolves.
Did he have an answer for that?
What would you have said? And Mick went, well, I wouldn't have liked it, would I? So it was a frank exchange. He was looking. He wanted to come on the show and tell Piers what he thought of it. So
Was that you doing a Barnsley accent?
It wasn't a Barnsley.
Piers was being antagonistic, though. He's even throwing Roy Keane's name at him.
Oh yeah, he's trying to get a rise out of him.
Yeah.
Trying to get a rise out of him.
I mean, is there a grudge? Is there a grudge between you and Van Nistelrooy, Martin?
No.
Is that all settled?
Do you know this one with Haaland? It's unbelievable, isn't it? That he has that feud with that player, with Haaland's father, all those years ago, and then his son. Because of the success of his sons, it's kind of like brings it back, doesn't it?
Yeah. Because Roy said that he was as good as a League One player, didn't he, at one point in terms of his build-up play?
Yeah. Anyway, no grudges here. Simon, I'll see you tomorrow. Martin Keown, Arsenal invincible. Who's in the final?
Oof. Well, I'm back in England to make it, and France.
England, France. Right, we shall see. France to win tonight, says Martin Keown. England to win tomorrow night. We shall see. World Cup Game Day Drive is next with Andy and Darren in the US of A. That's it. We're coming up to 4.
Look, we've seen some amazing players play for England in my lifetime, but I feel that what Bellingham is doing, even if you compare it to Kane, and Kane is an icon, Kane is one of England's greats as well, but Bellingham feels different.
Do you think?
Yeah.
You think he's the greatest player to ever play for England?
Can we frame this question in a slightly different way?
Go on.
Can we just discount the 66 winners? Like,
Okay.
I can't.
You can't
They won it, right?
go against Bobby Moore.
Yeah, they've won it. They've won it.
Okay,
Like,
but is he the best player you've seen in an England shirt ever?
He's not. He's probably not the best player, but he might be the best England player, the best player for England. Like, look, you could argue that Steven Gerrard was a better player than him. You could argue that Paul Scholes was. You could argue that lots of players were, but none of them did it for England in the way that Bellingham has already. Already, 22 years old. Already, think about what happened in Qatar. Think about what happened in Germany.